Okay, there we go. Sorry, folks. That was a Zoom setting issue that we were having into our OBS. I apologize. We should have audio now. We are ready to rock and roll.
All right, now that we're back, I'll start it over. As usual, we are live every Monday. Thank you guys for being here as well. Sorry for the brief audio delay. We got everything going now. We are back Mondays. We were on Sundays. Thank you for joining us in those brief periods, but we are back now every Monday at 7 p.m. If you want to join the Zoom call, you can get in on the texting link in the panel. We are working on another way, I think, to get you guys' audience in, so that way we can ensure that if you want to be on the panel, you can be on the panel. If you want to be in the attendee side, you can for the webinar. Due to the nature of streaming, your comments are not filtered to us immediately. We take them as quickly as possible. If there's a question that doesn't get answered, do not worry about it. We will get to it. We have great people in the panel here that's looking out for questions and everything for everybody. Be the sharpest tool in the room. What that means to us is we don't know everything. Trust me, I'm an IT idiot, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll learn something today, right?
Did you just call us tools?
I am, yeah, that's for sure. The whole session is a live Q&A. So there'll be some presentation. We'll get some questions and answers coming in. And don't worry, we'll try to answer every question we possibly can. And of course, shameless plug, don't forget to follow AV Educate on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. With that being said, our presenter tonight is Jay Clark. Why did it not go to the next scene? Look, we're having every kind of issue you possibly can have right now. Un momento, por favor. I'll get his slide up. Didn't add it to the slide. Jake Clark. He has worked in the entertainment industry as a touring broadcast, live event production, and eSports audio engineer for over 10 years. Most recently, he's diving into film shooting and directing. So without further ado, we'll kick it back to Ed so we can get this kicked off.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for bearing with us with our little bit of technical difficulty. My whole setup went out on a show last week, and it just kind of got put together. So I apologize for all of the delays. But we are back. We are here. Jay Clark is with us. So I guess panelists, how many of you guys have watched esports or worked on an esports event? Do we have anybody? Yeah, Chris, of course you watch esports.
What is that supposed to mean?
It just I could. You're a gamer, so that's something you're into.
I've played in a few esports tournaments.
You played? Oh, cool. Well, good. Then you'll have some insight from the other side of this. I've done a couple esports jobs doing audio, and it's way more complex than you would think just by being a viewer of it. Anybody else? Andy, you ever done Andy Lipnick, you ever done any esports?
I have not. I've done some stuff with IGN covering esports and games for like E3, things like that, but not actual esports events.
Copy that. Great. Good. Well, then this will be a great chance to learn from Jay more about esports and comms and stuff. Right off the bat, does anybody have any questions about esports? Does everybody know what esports are?
I would love a high-level explanation.
Awesome. Jay, can you give a high-level explanation of esports?
Absolutely. It's gaming competition at the highest possible level. So there's the NFL, right? There's the NHL, there's pro baseball, there's all of these pro, conventional sports, ball sports, but so many people play video games that it's got to a highly competitive level to the point to where there's teams, there's sponsorship deals, millions of dollars are in play, millions of dollars in prize money, hundreds of thousands of viewers tuning into Twitch, picking their favorite gamer. It's just like conventional ball sports are, except it's video games. They have the same kind of fan base, jerseys, clothing, merchandising, all of it goes hand in hand. So that's kind of the big overview of what it is. There's huge arenas with 20, 30 players on a stage, another 50, 60 players in a holding zone that are competing to get to the stage level. The Army sponsors a lot of it. I'm sure everybody have seen Ninja, right? The pro gamer Ninja. He's kind of probably one of the most prominent ones in the...
He's the blue red-haired freak you see on New Year's Eve recently.
Correct. He was on the Masked Singer show, and they're kind of trying to plug him all over the place to boost esports. But that's the kind of overview of what it is.
And aren't the purses now comparable to aren't the purses larger than even golf tournaments and NASCAR?
No, they're not. They're not that high. So I'm going to introduce you guys in a second to a producer named Jerry Pickering who produced some of the biggest esports events from ESPN to Blizzard and things like that. And he happens to just be one of my best friends on the planet. So he popped in today, and he can answer a lot of those kind of things. But what was the highest purse you ever saw? 1.9 million for first place.
Bugga for the Fortnite World Cup last year took 3.9 million. A 15-year-old.
That was dispersed. We're talking about single payouts here.
His single payout was 3.1. His single payout was $3.9 million. Was his single payout.
So there you have it. 3.9 single payout. It also depends on the game and the audience, right?
Well, yeah, that one, it was a solo game. So I understand what he's saying about dispersed because I played Gears. I used to play for Team Reciprocity, which now is Team Reciprocity, was Team Denial. So you're talking a 4-man to a 5-man team that's splitting the share. Team Bugga played a solo world comp game and won first place himself, and the prize was 3.9 for the first prize winning. Now, when I played, it was $50,000 split between 4 guys.
Correct.
So that was for 4th place.
And it's like he said, it depends on the game. It depends on how many players are in the game, how many places pay out, things like that. Obviously, like Call of Duty, Fortnite, anything from Blizzard, those are going to bring higher payouts, higher audiences than, something that's maybe like a B title. Keep them coming.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So is this kind of like NASCAR where you can zoom in on different teams? It's not like you're watching a program line cut. You can actually go in on 50 streams if there's.
So it depends. It really depends. If it's a contest level, it's up to the technical director and the sponsorships on how it's going to be presented to the audience, right? So there's developer tools that a lot of people don't see that you kind of have to buy out from the developers themselves, which gives you observer tools and developer toolkits and things like that. And that way you will have the casters at the news station desk and they can drive the audience through the contest. And that's the conventional way of doing it. Now, sometimes you'll simulcast that with team A and team B, and the audience member could pick a team that, they kind of want to watch, or they can watch the live program, which is going to be the observers driving the audience through the contest.
Cool. Anything else from the panel? Otherwise, let Jay take it away.
Cool. First things, I want to do a couple shout outs just because we all understand this industry is a team-based industry. There's no star players, right? It takes a village to get these things done. And I could tell you from touring, corporate shows, broadcast trucks, OB trucks, the esports stuff is the most intensive routing I will do every year by far. If you can think of 50 computers in a LAN area and another 30 on a stage, plus a communications network that I'm going to go in pretty in depth with you guys, it's 3 to 5 consoles linked together. It's 12 Rios linked together and a metric ton of XLR. So with that said, it's obviously not me getting all of those stations and all of those things done. I have signal flow diagrams and lots of crews that I lead, but a man by the name of Brian Lindstrand, he's always had my back. A man by the name of Atlee Barthoff is a fantastic engineer who has always had my back on these. A man by the name of Steve Ratcliffe was one of the pioneers in kind of all of this. And Andy, you may know Steve. Steve's a great dude. Nothing but love for him. And then also I want to introduce you guys to a man by the name of Jerry Pickering, who has been a producer, worked directly with ESPN, Blizzard Games, the United States Army, eSports division. And yeah, like you guys, just to say hi to him because he can answer a lot of questions that maybe I can't.
Hey guys, it's nice to meet everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
And maybe just
for sure. So I got into esports at the very grassroots level. I mean, for those of you that know anything about esports, you know that it kind of jumped from a non-acknowledged sport to a very acknowledged sport very, very quickly. was backed by a lot of money and then sanctioned by the NCAA to become a pro sport for the actual esports draft. However, when I got into it, it was more of a passion project, just like it was for a lot of people that loved gaming. And it was taken from that and put on the main stage, introduced to ESPN, is now got its own channel. Certainly, there was no shortage of content producers on Twitch that just propelled them forward. Twitch became a primary component to driving that as well. And the sports just exploded, honestly, over the last 4 or 5 years. 9 years ago, it was still just going to conventions, whether it was Comic Cons or PAX or BlizzCon, or whatever it was. It was just something that either you were a part of that community or you weren't. And now it's a very mainstream sport.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. Just right out of the horse's mouth. I've worked with this guy for going on 8 years. He's one of my best friends on this earth, and we have been through monsters together, absolute monsters together. From, I mean, I hate to name drop it, but clients that have booked Usher and Shakira to PAX main stage arenas. I have done. I'm sure you guys have similar stories. Like going to war with somebody, right? Absolute hell. So thank you for everything, man. I love you to death. So let's go right into it with the esports. The number one thing, and this is kind of with any team-based job and even in the military, the very first thing you got to do is establish communications, right? Nothing can happen if nobody can talk to each other. And in gaming and in any production level, that's always my top priority. I get comms set up before I get my console set up, before I get anything else set up. So some departments or producers that want to talk with client or maybe green room or whatever it may be, they could start working on their stuff and then you could start on your department. So I always start with comms, and that way I hand them out, get the free speak packs out. Maybe it's a HelixNet panel or something like that, or tie into an OB truck. That way everybody could talk and they could communicate across a convention building level. And then each department can kind of dive in from there and work on their own stuff, but they can communicate. So I want to talk to you guys about that and how I route that. Unfortunately, I had a camera set up and the capture card for the camera took a dump. So I'm going to have Jerry pick up my laptop and kind of show you guys some toys. And I'm going to walk you through a couple ways that I like to do the routing on that. So Steve Ratcliffe, he's one of my buddies. He kind of dove into this at the very conception of it, and we used the line level inputs on the back of FreeSpeak. So stage announce output and program input. But you can also, what most people don't know, where I have the line level little plug sling on here. That fall down or something? Yeah. So I try to go 4-wire on all my comm systems, like conventional. Here, let me shut this green screen thing off so you guys can actually see stuff. This is gonna take me a second.
Hey Jay, I got a quick little question from the Facebook side real fast here.
Yep.
So Iris Sloman Hoffman is asking, I know a couple of people who stream their game sessions on Twitch. I guess tournaments are a lot more complex. Are you able to give us a comparison between someone at home who's a Twitch user versus what the esports kind of requires when it comes to this, like just the magnitude of what you're doing and what we're explaining here to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So at home, you are in control of what you're doing, right? So you're in control of your language, whether you feel like cursing in your channel, your network as a whole, how you're going to set that up. If you're using a capture card to take the game, maybe you're using a stream deck or something like that to kind of do switches. It just depends on the level you're doing it at, but it's really isolating you, right? On the pro level, there's camera crews that are 10 to 18 people. There's jib shots. There's, on a Carbonite, how many inputs are we taking? 80, 100, 140 video inputs that all need to be managed and taken care of, and audio needs to be appropriate on them. So it's just a matter of scale. And once you get into the tournament level, you also deal with sponsorships, you deal with branding, you deal with all of those things that are, as an audio engineer, if I don't consider that, if I flub a commercial, if the TD says, okay, roll gold, and the commercial fails, well, now that just costs $12,000. That was my mistake. So most professionals in the industry could tell you it's a responsibility. And at home, you know, if you make a mistake, it's kind of on you, and whatever loss is lost at home is because of you. But on the large scale, it's a team-based job where every member of the team has to really care and value the fact that if they make a mistake, it's going to be a costly mistake. I think would be the best way to do that.
No, that
I
was
always
perfect.
say that, and I kind of talked to Omar about this and Ed too. I don't really like the term A1. It's a term I've had for about 10 years, and it's the reason why I don't like the term is because I think a lot of people look at it as a title and a trophy to hold rather than a responsibility. And for me, if I see the letters A1, I don't look at it as simply as a title. It's a responsibility that I have. I'm responsible for the planning, the setup, the implementation, the operation, and the successful teardown of all audio systems. And if you're at home, you don't have that kind of responsibility on you. But I always tell people it's at that level that I take it. And you have to, especially at that pro level where a prize is $1.9 million or $3.9 million. And if I make a mistake, if my routing is off, time, if a producer gives me a time, like this needs to be ready to go at this time so we can do rehearsals. If I don't meet those metrics, then I have failed at my job. So again, it's always a responsibility first, and it's a cool job, but it's still a job where maybe doing it at home would be a little more of a hobby level.
No, that's a great explanation for the
that's
audience.
the difference.
No, that's a great explanation. I think it covers it very well, and I hope that answers the questions from the community on that one.
So check this out. A lot of people have seen these. A lot of people may not have. This is a 4-wire to XLR adapter. Now, if we're going in and out of comm systems, conventional comm systems, there's matrix comms, there's digital comms, but most conventional systems are 4-wire comms or 2-wire comms. And 2-wire comms were kind of the older way to do it, where you had duplex audio running down pin 1 and ground and power. But if I run everything 4-wire, right here, this is a Cat5 cable, but I have a send and return at line level, and I'm just using this style of cable to send line level audio. And I tell everybody, if you make everything the same voltage type, if everything is line level, then you can do whatever you want with it. I could send it into different mixers. I can route it to different places or green rooms or whatever without having to worry about converting or blowing a preamp or taking out a camera chain is a good example. HelixNet is a good one with that, right? So everybody likes HelixNet, but HelixNet uses XLR cables to transmit digital audio, but it's also a very high volts. It's at 59 volts compared to conventional 29 volt comm. And a lot of people will think they can just grab a HelixNet line and plug it in a camera chain, but you're going to smoke that CCU if you do so. It's a different voltage, even though it's the same camera type or cable type. So what I do is I take everything that I have and I make everything line level. The back of my comms, the back of FreeSpeak, which I'll show you guys here in a second, or HelixNet, there's ports. And those ports are either 2-wire ports or 4-wire ports. And what I'll do with those, again, is take everything into the console. I'll spit it all out line level, and I'll use converters to send everything around. Because what the producers want to do is the producers want to use a FreeSpeak pack. They want to be able to walk around, talk to clients, do whatever they need to do, but they need to do all their communication through FreeSpeak. The technical director is on a panel. Again, I'm going to go in 4-wire. I'm going to spit out XLR. And if Jerry wants to pick up this laptop, I will try and show you. And hopefully something doesn't get unplugged because he's carrying a laptop and not a camera. So here's my console that you guys can see. Here's my console. Here's a FreeSpeak kit here, right here. On the back of the FreeSpeak kit, there's a stage out XLR and a program in. And if you want to pan it over there, the camera. If you guys see these guys, these are Studio Technologies Model 240s. And I have a 232, but it broke. And this is a Whirlwind THS4. So these are what you're going to see on the back end of a caster station. So everybody kind of calling the games and things like that, like you would think of. If you think conventional sports, you know, it'd be the like Sports Center, thing like that you would see. They're going to have these under their tables. And the producers and the TDs in the back are going to have these guys here. So how that's going to work, if you want to aim it back, I am going to have my ClearComm belt pack. And if you see here on the belt pack, this button right here is always locked on. And you could set that up in the CCM, the ClearComm GUI system. And you could set it to just always be on. And I come out of stage announce on this pack directly into my console. And if you want to bring the laptop over here, if you can. If you guys could see this metering. So I have my free speak headset. And check. Channel 1 is jumping right here on my console. Check. So now I'm always taking in this producer's audio. At all times, it's coming in. Conventionally in esports, it's going to be a 2-console setup. I'm going to have one console for the show and program, and I'm going to have a second console solely dedicated to comms and routing, because it's going to get pretty hairy. And once I kind of explain how it goes, you guys are going to say, oh, wow, the mix and minuses can get confused really quickly if you don't take your time and pay attention, right? So producer comes in with free speak, no matter where he's at, with a wireless belt pack. I am always capturing his microphone here via stage announce. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to route it back to that caster station I showed you, and I'm going to split that signal so that every single caster station has his mic going to it. Now, they're not going to hear anything until he actually routes himself. So if you could show him the 240s again. So he comes out of free speak into the console. He goes out of the console into these model 240 boxes. And here's the big trick right here. Here's where the money maker is. If you guys could see, this top port right here is a line level module that I had inserted into these, because conventional producer boxes have a headset for like a RTS headset or a ClearComm headset, and they're going to take the mic from the ClearComm headset and route it back to their destinations. I put a line level module in here so I could send a mix directly from the console, and that way I have more flexibility over dynamics, his EQ, all of his vocal processing chain, things like that. Now, he comes out of the console into these producer boxes, and from these producer boxes, you have casters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then all casters or IFB for like a host or somebody like that we have on IFB. So out of the console hits the producer stations. The producer stations are living over in Video Village. These are living next to the technical director and the producer. They come back out, and if you see here, you have 4 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the back, you have 4 outputs, main out 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for the purposes of this demo, I used main output 1, which is going to be routed to caster number 1. So when he talks on his free speak belt pack, so he's talking here, all he has to do is hit button number 1, and if you aim it at the console while I'm talking on 1, can you aim that at the console? And if you guys could see channel number 2, when I press number 1, channel number 2 starts jumping. Now channel number 1's always going, but that's only routed to the model 240. Channel number 2, when I hit this is the producer's voice to caster 1. So now I have routed that to caster 1. If you aim it back here, there is a mix to caster 1, which is going to go to this THS4. And there's 2 knobs on the front. There's input 1 and then there's input 2. Input 1, I'm always going to have as a mix minus between the casters and themselves. So if people are familiar with like a Model 230 Studio Technologies box, you have dip switches and different things like that you can do for the mix. But I like to give each caster their own unique mix minus. So if I'm sending a mix from a Rio straight to this guy, and I'm capturing the producer's audio and all of the caster's audio, then that mix number 1 I can adjust to their tastes, and I can even push some of themselves in there to kind of give them like a little bit of a side tone. So I always tell them, just because casters come and go, they jump up, maybe the next game is going to be a different set of casters that know that game better than the previous set of casters. So if I keep all things equal, then it's really easy for those transitions to happen. So input 1 is always going to be that mix minus. So themselves, other casters, they're able to have that conversation, right? And they could turn that up or down if they want. Mix number 2 is always going to be the game. So they can adjust the game volume in relation to the other casters speaking to them, right? Maybe they don't want to hear so much of the game. Maybe they only really care about the game, but they have a handle for that there. On these boxes, the mic, if we press this, the mic is always on, and that's how they like it. If they have to cough, they could tap these, cough, talk back here. When I press talk back, it's going to kill the mic, which is going to program, and it's going to route a second output, a talkback output, directly to, you guessed it, the producer using this. Now, most people ask me, okay, I see how you're getting audio out of ClearComm into your console, into these stations, and route it around, but how can the caster talk back to the producer and say, well, when we go into commercial, or should I say this, or is that okay? When they press talk back, this once again is going to go line level into my console. From the console, I'm going to create a mix, a talkback to producer mix, which is going to go into program on FreeSpeak. So on the back of FreeSpeak, there's a program input, which is just another XLR type connector, line level input. And I send that, which is just when any of these casters, I'm sorry, just this one, I didn't set up other ones, but when any person with a caster box presses their talkback, they go straight into that talkback mix, which routes directly into the program input on ClearComm, which goes straight to his B channel here, which is his producer. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, but does that make sense to everybody as far as how that's routed?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, being an audio guy, that makes sense to me, but I can understand where that can get confusing routing things back and forth. But no, that's super clever. And you're right. Once you can make that stuff line level, it just makes it that much easier.
Correct. Did you see the little line dryer box I had? There was another little box right there. Do you know what line dryers are, Ed? Who knows? Who here knows what line dryers are?
Absolutely.
So Studio Technologies also makes these. And what this lets me do is take a conventional 2-wire intercom circuit in and spit out, you guessed it, line level. So if I'm working with, maybe I have to tie into a truck and they just hand me a 2-wire cable and that's how they're trying to do the handoff, I'll once again take 2-wire in and then A and B channel line level out into my console. And that way I can route them directly into the sources I just explained. Whether it's a technical director's headset mix, a producer mix, or maybe the OB truck needs to talk to the casters. No matter what, just like you said, Ed, make it all line level and your life will be infinitely easier.
Yeah, AV Lifesavers makes a couple of those boxes that can do the line drying, that also can allow you to interject a line level signal in, like a program audio in or something like that, into your comms. So that's anything you can do for those. Now, I guess I have a question. Since we're talking about getting audio at line level, are you using any interfaces that maybe convert your 4-wire comm or 2-wire comm to Dante, so you can, because I see you have a QL there. So I'm just wondering, are you using Dante at all for any of that audio routing?
Yeah. So everything here, as far as this demo is concerned, I didn't hook up Rios or things like that because it's just really right here. And I wish I had more time to do this better for everybody. And I'm sorry, I had a site visit today and work, and he did too. It's just, again, we're very humbled to even be working at all. So, sorry about that.
And we appreciate that. And just a reminder to our audience, everybody who you see on the panel for AV Tech Talks and anyone who's ever presented is giving their time. They're donating their time to pass on that knowledge. So we greatly appreciate it, Jay, and any past presenters and everyone on the panel. Thank you, guys. but it is a labor of love, and you know, we appreciate you being able to take the time out. We know everybody's got to work when they can, so thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate
I
that.
think what you guys are doing is great. And before COVID ever happened, I always said that maybe my end game was to be a teacher. Like, I was originally going to be an accountant. I was then going to be a college teacher, and then now looking at, you know, high school math teacher, because I have 2 kids. I love teaching. Um, no offense to public school or anything like that, but I remember when I was in school, and some teachers, they just didn't care at all. Like, if you had a question or you needed extra help, they just didn't care to give it to you. And I remember when I got into this industry, Mason, Andy knows Mason. Him and me, Mason came into this industry 2 months after I came into this industry. That's how close me and him are. And the other man I named Brian, he was in a couple years before that. But when we came in and we were, you know, bottom of the totem pole guy, like do all the shit work guy, I remember what that was like. I remember being on the road. I remember not even knowing how to hook anything up. I remember not knowing how to wrap cable and getting it thrown at me for wrapping it wrong. It seems like a whole other life ago that it was that. You know, I'm in my 30s now, and that was a long time ago. It was right around 20. And I remember them old school guys, right? They didn't take any shit. It needed to be done their way. It needed to be done right. If you had a question, it was, you know, go away, you idiot. And I love those guys. Don't get me wrong, but I always thought that I could do a little better on that end and teach and show the knowledge, because we all have to admit, right? Like, very few things are original ideas and just thought about for yourself. Very few things are. Most things are taught. They're either taught by osmosis, you're just around it and you see it happening, or it's taught lecture or an apprenticeship of some kind, but it's taught. And I don't take that for granted. I don't. The people that helped teach me over the past 10 years and have put me in a place to where I have a great career, I have a house, I have a family, it's all because of that, right? Like, I wouldn't have these things if I didn't have the drive, but also that knowledge to back it up. And with that knowledge comes confidence. So that's why I think these things like AV talks, and I try to do like my own tutorials here and there when I have time, is just my little way of giving back, man. And I know you guys are doing the same thing, and I think that's really, really cool. Because, come on, I mean, Ed, how long you been doing this? I could see in that beard you've been doing it for a while.
Is that because of the grays that are coming in? Yeah, no. I got into doing audio when I was a teenager, about 15.
Same with you, Bodie.
No. Hold up. I have never touched an AV show in my entire life except for one. I'm here as the network IT guy. Do not associate my grays with his grays. My grays are from 3 kids and my wife. His grays are from actual audio and AV.
Yeah, no, I've been doing it a long time, but
well, you know the deal. Like, when you started, was it you can't be in this industry and have thin skin, right? You can't do it.
No, not at all.
If you don't have thick skin, you're not gonna make it. Just plain and simple.
I second that.
Absolutely.
And that's most women. I wish there was more women in the industry, because it's conventionally been a male dominated industry. But most women that I've seen it have thicker skin than the guys because of that. I think we can all agree with that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I've seen many a lighting girl with swinging a C wrench.
Absolutely.
Hey, Jay, so I just got a question
ahead.
for you. So Anthony
Yep.
Ramirez asked, and I'm sorry to get us off track here.
Go ahead.
Says, he was asking, how many wireless producer free speaks are you running on a typical show for, let's say we're talking about esports in this scenario?
20 to 25.
20, 25? All right.
So wireless crew, because I'll put wireless units on all of camera, and camera is going to be about 10 people, 10 plus individuals there. And sometimes I'll have to link base stations to kind of do more than that. But free speak, if I just had one pack, we'll do 25, and that would be 5 transceivers, 5 per transceiver. Most shows, the writer request that I get is 20, right? 28. So it's going to be 28 channels of wireless, and on HelixNet for wired, it's going to be a panel for the TD, and he's going to have a 1 to 3 rack module panel there with 4 to 12 channels on that panel, depending on what is asked for. So if it's a guy from ESPN, he's going to want a panel built a specific way compared to a guy for Blizzard or whatever. But wireless 28, wired is going to be about 20, right? A little less than that. If we count the panel, about 20.
Got you. I'll add as well. Iris Sloman, and I hope I'm saying this right. She made a comment. It's called stress highlights, not grades. So moving forward, we'll call it stress highlights.
I like that.
I like that.
Stress highlights.
Stress highlights, because I got some of that
definitely
going
like
in down here.
I think that fits all of us here. I like that better.
No, that was great.
I try to
Another
shave
question.
mine away. Go ahead.
I had Chris Lubecker was asking, what's the name of the 2-wire box to line converter that you were referring to?
Oh, these are great. And if you want some, there's some guy on eBay selling a bunch of these right now for $99. It is the Studio Technologies model. The model number is tore off. I forgot the model number on here. If you just type in, model 72. Yeah, it's wore off, but I can see it. Model 72 and Studio Technologies line dryer. And they're $100.
Awesome. So I got 2 more here. Randy Regis is asking how I know I'll in no particular order here, right? The first one is, how do front house and main house setups talk back, especially when you are resolving issues?
So do we talk back to each other like you would think conventionally, like a monitor engineer and front of house engineer? So we don't use talkback mics. We just use all comms. And I'm going to be backstage in the kind of broadcast area. That's where I'm going to live and set up. And we're going to have a front of house guy. And it's not saying that front of house is easier in this case or to diminish it, but it is easier. What I give them is a stereo bus output of the program that they feed to the crowd. And then they have ISOs for hosts and casters. So they have handles on that. And what we end up doing is there will be a CL5 for program in the back of house, a QL5 to route comms, and front of house will have another CL5. And we're going to link all 3 of those. And we link them and we share channels because front of house and back of house, again, they're going to share a bus, which I'm going to feed him via Dante, Ed, if you're wondering. I go in and I patch that straight over to Dante into his console, which is his program feed of the show. But then we also share handles on host microphone and casters. So that way he has handles on those and I have handles on those. And we don't use gain compensation on that. One of us sets the gain. And then if the other person needs to touch that, we always communicate that. Usually front of house is hired out. So if we're in a union venue or something like that, it'll be an IA member at front of house. And I'm non-union, but I have a great bridge that I've built with them. And we always usually put them at front of house, and then we keep our communication really consistent, right? So as long as you talk and he's not turning up a preamp on that host microphone and screwing me in the back, then everybody's fine. But as far as program, he just gets a stereo feed, and they're happy with that. And then there's an audio channel on comms. There is an audio channel.
Got it. So another one I got for you is, how do you deal with wireless interference using wireless mics or camera or even lapel mics?
Wireless workbench.
That's what I was thinking.
So LED walls, there's huge LED walls on all these shows. If it's a touring show, if it's a thing like that, keep your antennas away from those. Even if it's like 2.5 or something like that, keep them away from the wall. IFB antennas, just keep them away from the wall, but plug everything into wireless workbench. Even if it's on something that doesn't have a network port, if it's like an older UHFR or something like that, or maybe you're using cheaper, or even the Electrosonics, like the older Electrosonics IFB kits, don't have a Dante port on them. They just are what an IFB was. You could still go into wireless workbench and you could plug those frequencies and bands into wireless workbench and monitor it. So we run backup frequencies at all times. And if there's any issues, we jump them to the backup frequencies. If we're laving somebody, we double lav them on different frequencies, things like that. Axient is great for frequency diversity. Just, again, keep everything away from the walls. Have whoever the A2 is, like, really know workbench and be honest about that and help them if they don't. But that's something you do. You scan, you scan, you scan, you test, you scan again. And then every single day, we come in, like, Jerry, what are our crew calls? Like 2 hours before show? Like 2 hours before show. And that first hour, like, we come in, everybody talks. We take a kind of relaxer there and breathe, figure out what the day is going to be. And after that, every department has about an hour to kind of work through the bugs. So scan through workbench again. If we have to move an antenna around, if we have overlapping zones for comms, like, we have to address that. Once you get a couple thousand guests in, those things change, right? So during our first break, we're going to assess that again and see how the crowd affected our RF. Hopefully that answers that.
No, I like that. And you said a couple of things I want to bring to the attention to the community out here. One of the things you said I think is very important for a lot of the guys that are learning this or are coming to the platform to learn and educate themselves. Jay just mentioned how, be honest if you don't know it, and the crew will help you. That's what they're there for. I'm a big fan of the not fake it till you make it. Like, be honest. I think that gets more stuff in there. And I think the panelists here mostly has the same mentality. Like, be honest with your skill sets, because at the end of the day, we all have to get the job done. And if you're gonna just fake it till you make it, and you're the missing link, you're gonna cause the show to go bad, and it's everybody's fault, not just yours.
Well, so many people, they want to quote, what is it, Richard Branson, the Virgin guy, and he always said, like, if you're going for a job interview that you can't do, like, say you can do it and then figure it out. This is not the industry for that. People will see through your bullshit immediately.
Hey, Ed, it
100%.
sounds like these two watched this past week's podcast, huh?
Yeah, this is very reminiscent
exactly
of a conversation.
what we talked about on the podcast Wednesday.
Exactly. The AV Educate podcast.
Nothing is wrong with saying I don't know. So many people are scared to say I don't know because they think it's going to devalue them, and they're not going to get a call again, or they're not going to be trusted on a crew because they don't know every single conceivable thing. No, like, I'm the other way around. When I was a technical director for all of California, that was one of the things I would look for, is people that were honest, because you really do see through the bullshit very, very quickly, especially if there's a time, right? Because our entire industry is all based on hitting time metrics, right? We have to be set at this time. We have a rehearsal at this time. We have a show at this time. The first break is at this time. Commercial at this time. We need to be out 100% done by this time. And if somebody doesn't know what they're doing and they're afraid to ask, you're not going to hit those time metrics at all. And any one of those that are missed equals a chunk of money, right? If you have a 30-man crew waiting on you because you couldn't hold up your end of the deal, now that production company is paying 30 people to sit around for an hour and wait for you. So
you also mentioned something. You mentioned something a little bit earlier, and I'm glad that there's a panel here to help me with this. If I'm wrong, this is the way I've understood it. You mentioned at the very beginning of this that if there's an LED wall, kind of avoid it. And the way I've understood that when it comes to RF, an LED wall pretty much makes this an electrical wall,
correct,
essentially, that RF doesn't want to pass through.
Yeah, it's a electromagnetic field. It's a low one, but it does produce a field. It does produce RF radiation. And if you have a fishtail or like a Shure fin or any of those, and they're leaning on that wall, they're close enough that EM field is going to overlap that. And depending on the frequency range and things like that, you can 100% have drops, or at the worst, or at the least, I guess, fuzz, right? If it's an IEM paddle and I'm transmitting into some in-ears, and the guy asking me, man, like, how come, like, every 20 seconds it's just in my head? It's because of that EM field. So you grab your transmitter, you move it a couple feet away, all of a sudden, wow, problem gone.
Yeah, so something just to think about for you guys out audio land who are learning more about this world and want to get better at it. That's a good piece of a good nugget of information right there that Jay's giving out. So another one I have here that we spoke on, I thought was perfectly. What factors do you take into consideration when setting up at a new environment? And I'm sorry, I'll say it again. What are the major factors you take into consideration when setting up at a new environment?
So the environment itself is kind of hard to argue, right? There's going to be a stage in a set space at wherever the venue is and things like that that you have to adhere to. So you have to adapt to that. It's not like I'm able to say, well, this isn't working. Can we have a whole new building? Like, you can't do that. So you have to do things. Developers have made plenty of tools to help you solve that. Wireless Workbench is one that's fantastic for that. And then with ClearCom products directly, where's one of my belt packs? They have a scan feature. So thank you. Directly in here, if you go into the menu, and let me see if I can pull it up for you. There's a survey. It says site survey.
And ideally, it's called site survey because you would hopefully be able to get into the venue ahead of time and do
Correct.
this scan so that you understand what the environment is like.
Yeah, you know what site survey is, right?
I do. Our audience might not though. So
okay, so
we'll
there's
show
a
it.
fun. Yeah, well, it's my buttons are glitching. That's
Oh, gotcha.
like the encoder. This one's a sticky dial. This one just came back from out of everything that my company owns, out of consoles, line arrays. These go out more than anything I own at all. And they don't always come back in a nice condition. There's a feature on the COM belt pack. It's called Site Survey. So you can go there and all you need is a transceiver. You don't need the base station at all. You just need a transceiver that you could set up. And you connect to that transceiver and you run Site Survey, and you're going to get some metrics back to you based on quality. And then from that, you can adjust where you want to place your transceivers in the building.
And for anybody who may not know, the transceiver is basically, it's a two-way antenna. So it's sending information to the belt pack and getting information back from the belt pack, hence why it's called a transceiver. Jay also earlier mentioned that he would have 5 transceivers with 5 belt packs registered to each transceiver, and that's a ClearCom FreeSpeak limitation. 5 belt packs can only be connected to 1 transceiver at a time.
And and I don't know if you knew this or not either, Ed, but it also matters on the band.
Yeah, there's a band that only allows you 4. I always forget which one. The 1.9, I think, right? The 1.9 is the one that only lets you 4.
So the 1.9 gives you 5.
Okay, it's the other way around. 2.4 gives you 4.
The 2.5 only lets you connect 4 to them. And if you go straight from ClearCom, they'll always tell you to give yourself a buffer. So if you're running 1.9, they'll say, yeah, you can connect 5 belt packs to this transceiver, but we recommend you only connect 4. And then if you're running 2.5, they'll say, yes, you can connect 4 to this, but we recommend you only connect 3. That way you have some overlap. So if somebody's traveling around and things like that, they could bounce between transceivers.
Right. And that negotiation between transceivers is automatic. But if they walk into an area where the transceiver doesn't have any available slots left to accept another belt pack, then they're kind of out of luck.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Jay, I got another one for you. Coming as a video guy, I see you and Ed are connecting, and you're seeing this visual in your mind. And Guru brings up a good point. He's asking, can we please first explain the whole idea of the communications and the dive into the details? It's a bit more chaotic. Do we have a CAD or a diagram that we can show of kind of like what the flow is and how this kind of all runs together? You're doing a great job explaining it, and I'm seeing the signal flow and I'm getting it, but we're seeing it on a smaller level, right? And this must look crazy at an esports level.
I'll let you guys hear it straight out of the horse's mouth. Can you explain to them the video routing with the Ross Carbonate?
How much time do we have in the program?
We still got 60
about
minutes.
an hour left.
I mean, the video routing is complex. Obviously, there are very simple streams like you're using right now with OBS. And then there are more complicated setups where we have a really large LAN area of potentially 200 PCs that are being managed out in the house or in a different area. And all of that is getting routed backstage, specifically from a standpoint if we need to actually be able to pull that video and audio to send a stream. Prime example of that is everyone's on a server playing in a game. I don't know, it's 100 on 100 Fortnite battle. You got 100 players in a game. And the winner, it looks like, is going to be in the LAN area, not on stage. So that's where things get complicated because you're trying to track that. You have people tracking that. You have talent trackers. You have the guys in the house trying to communicate backstage on comm, telling us we think we have the guy that's going to win. We think this is the right person. We've got the jib in place, and all of this is happening. All of that video is coming backstage. Between the stage alone, you could have 2 to 4 different video lines coming from each PC. So let's say you have a large setup, it's 20 PCs on stage or 40 PCs on stage, that quickly multiplies, and it all has to hit something. And whether that's going through a 40 by independently for controlling the stage and then hitting the router and then hitting the Carbonite, there's a lot going on there in video routing. At some point, you've got to have control of that. So usually with the Carbonite, if you don't have the ability to get your hands on, like an Ultra or something like that to expand your inputs and outputs, you've either gone to a constellation to do a sub-switching, which is very typical in a lot of video setups with a lot of video to do your sub-switching prior to hitting your primary switch would be the Carbonite, or you're using 40 buys and you're independently pulling those in separately and still in most cases sub-switching on some sort of an ATEM or sub-switching.
Everything's SDI, right?
Yeah, most of the time everything is SDI. I do personally shy away from NDI. I've had a lot of trouble. I honestly jumped into that canoe with everybody in the beginning thinking this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I've had a million issues with it, not only just on video, but creating audio looping and just some really weird things that really just kind of take you back to the way you learned video to begin with. Like you can't replace a hard line. This isn't a broadcast studio. This is a complex video routing scenario that you just set up in a conference center or in a ballroom or wherever this is happening. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's great, and it leads me to my one, which is where I was going with this. So thank you for that answer. It was perfect. And now that you guys are sitting there together, I'm wondering, when it comes to the video and the audio side, since you guys are running those lines separately, right? Essentially from the house back to you to join it. Are you guys getting any kind of delays that you have to modify for, or are you getting anything between? Because remember, we're taking in and sending out audio from also all the players' headsets as well as what the audience is hearing, right? So like this has to be managed on a huge scale.
So I'm going to jump in really quick. Hold on, because this is actually a question that was asked by Spider in the chat. That kind of backs up on what Omar was saying there. Their question was, with the gaming PCs, you have 50 computers. How do you go about switching audio for them from the main screens? And what do you take? Also, do you take all the audio from the gamers' headsets as well? So just kind of back it up on that as well.
Okay, and here, correct me if I'm wrong. What we'll do is all of the audio from all of the PCs are embedded down the video SDI lines, and all of those lines go to the Carbonite. And what you'll do is we will max the volume and set them all at the same level across all the PCs, and then disable them, their ability to turn up the game audio on the PC itself. Now, they do have audio on their headsets and things like that they can adjust, but they can't change the audio level that's going down the SDI line. That SDI then hits the mult, and video or audio follows video. So every single one of those 50 inputs, audio is embedded down those SDI lines. And then when the TD makes a switch from game to game or whatever that is, audio follows video seamlessly. Correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, ultimately, you want audio to follow the video line as far as possible before you ever get to a point where you're de-embedding, right? And splitting and sending that to where it needs to go. So
how are you guys? So the question that just came up from Anthony Ramirez is, if no NDI, what are you using to convert the video from the game PC's sound console? So are you guys embedding that in the SDI lines themselves, or you're running two separate parallel lines from each individual PC back to your station? No,
we're just embedding it. Like you just send audio down the video line and embed it in SDI, and then
gotcha.
and then those are going to hit the switch, and then from the switch, it's going to have XLR outputs from that I could take a stereo feed from that switch into my console.
Okay, and you're doing all that through the Carbonite switcher at that point. All the audio is being routed back out to you guys. How many channels are you getting through that?
That may hit a stub switch. That may hit like a Blackmagic, like a 2ME. And
okay.
Then on the back of those 2MEs, like there's, like main stereo bus output from there that I can take. So audio follows video.
And if all things are equal, all I really need is a stereo feed, because audio is going to follow those 50 game machines.
Got it. And do you guys ever run into problems where like the gamer, you know, they want to see 250 hertz refresh rate, but you're doing SDI, so you're only getting 60 hertz versus? Are you guys ever running into problems like that with the gamers?
That was actually going to be my question, because I'll tell you right now, if I'm on one of your esports events and I'm not getting the refresh rates I need, I'm smacking somebody.
Yeah.
Or the audio, because you're telling me that you guys control the audio on the PC. I know for me at home here, I control my audio to the level that I want. Like, I don't want it full blast in my ear. And yes, I can control it right here, but.
And there's a couple other pieces of equipment too. Like, there's mix amps that are an external piece of hardware that the player will have. And on that, he can dial in, he can still have full control over his audio. What we try to do is, a lot of these pro gamers and things like that, they have their own headsets that they're comfortable with.
Yeah, 95% of those tournaments are run with Astro Astro A50s that have their own pre-mix amp with them as it is.
Oh yeah. So
this guy, I think, worked with Astro and developed some of those. Didn't Astro get you a model that you said we needed for the gaming?
Yeah, so Astro about a year ago developed the pro model. They finally completed the pro model, which was great because they just kind of hand delivered it. And I highly suggest just skipping all the other models and getting the pro model and removing.
Well, if you have a spare $300, I would be glad to have one of those Astro A50 Pros, but unfortunately, they are $300 to everybody out there in land. They are not the cheapest headset in the world, but I will say one thing: if you are looking for a headset that has the best audio across anything, Astro's is the way to go.
Yeah, the pro model, there is a model that is not available to the public that was developed by Astro specifically for pro gamers. They're only accessible to pro gamers in competition specifically for that reason. They have no plans to release them to the market.
TRL 80s.
So
there's another too, I can jump in here. Observers, like I said earlier, if you have to pay for the toolkit, right? The observer toolkit?
No, not always. I mean, sometimes we can work with the backend developers just to get access to the backend system for the observer mode. A lot of times, if with enough, advance notice, and if you're working with those developers, sometimes they'll just give you a different version of the game. It's not going to be the game that you get off the shelf. It's going to be a developer model of that game.
So with that observer toolkit that we have, the casters that you see, those we take direct SDI lines from, but I do take direct line level off of like the 3.5 jacks on the PCs. I take those straight into a DI, straight into a Rio that way, because they're not, the observers are the casters, the people calling this, they're using that observer toolkit. I'm routing the audio into their headsets for them from my console. They don't need to have a gaming headset or on anything like that because they have a newscaster headset on. So from those machines, it is two separate lines. It's a video line directly from the observer machines, and then there's also a line level audio line directly from those machines, which then leads me down to player chat. You guys want me to jump into player chat now, or is there other questions?
No, jump in.
Wait, before we
got enough time for player chat? I mean, because I know that's a pain in the ass just on a regular computer sometimes.
just before we jump into player chat, because we did kind of venture into the video routing side of it. Is there any thought about using something like the Aquilon as opposed to the Ross Carbonite, so that all that gameplay audio can then be sent Dante right out and right back? Now that these switchers are starting to come with Dante on board, is that a thought?
Absolutely. That's something we're looking at. And cool. It's I could tell you guys, I'll tell you a quick story because I don't want to get off topic and I don't want to bore you guys with war stories. But I could tell you completely from working with like ESPN guys and like the NBA guys, because I've done a lot of those. They used to be really frightened of any networking of any kind and wanted to run copper for everything. So a lot of the broadcast people are certainly catching up, but it's a slow process. It's not as quick as we're going to be. So if we're working with a news station, if I'm working with a network, I have to adhere to their policies. And if they have an EIC in that broadcast truck and he's telling me copper, I can't fight him on that.
Copy that. great. So yeah, you can if you want to talk player chat, I think that's something we should look at. But Jay, also, it sounds like you might have switched back to your laptop audio as opposed to the handheld.
Check. Oh yeah.
Yep.
On.
We can still hear you, but it's definitely not the handheld you were using before.
Is that in? Check. Hey. Check. Is that the internal? Here, hold on. Just reset this. You should see it.
And we appreciate you working with us. I know that some of your tech fell apart today. You had something that just stopped working, so we appreciate that you were able to scrape something together so that we could have this talk. Because even without the tech working perfectly, I think this is very valuable. And if I can take a minute, speaking of tech, we've bumped our meetings up to
It's not just that. Yeah, so let me jump into player chat. Player chat is something that's at its conception is something the fans like really wanted. And it's not the easiest thing to do because like I said, a lot of the pro gamers and people like that, they want to use their headsets and they want to use their equipment. So we had to build a system that could adapt to that. Because the players, they don't want to deal with any of this and they don't have the time to either, to be honest. They want to sit down. They either want to use Discord, Unity, whatever system they're comfortable with, and play their game. And they want it ready to go, especially if they're at a pro level. Just imagine how like a pro NFL player would act. The pro gamer guys have kind of the same mentality as far as it better be right and it better be ready.
Some of them are a little worse.
So that
you wouldn't tell an NBA star how to lace up their shoes.
So. Yeah, correct. So what we do is we do use a lot of those Astro mix amps, and they have some pretty pro models. And what they will let us do is you can extract their audio from it, and then there's several output options. So again, we're gonna embed their main game down the line. But their game chat audio is going to be linked with those Astro boxes so that their voice isn't in the game. Because people at home watching the game, like they don't. Can you imagine if it was 50 people all talking and you're having to hear that every single time? It'd be horrible. So we link their mix boxes together based on teams. And ClearCom does a thing too. ClearCom developed a thing where you could inject the game into ClearCom and then you give a bunch of free speak packs to the players. From my understanding, the players didn't want to wear a ClearCom headset. They wanted to wear their Astro headset. They wanted to wear the one they're comfortable with. So we tried to push that at first because ClearCom developed a great tool for that. They want to use their headsets. So we link those Astro boxes together, and that way different teams could talk to each other isolated without the game, without having to worry about in-game chat. And also on there, you can go into the menu on those, and you could set an aux output on the device to simply be the mic element. So that way we could strip their mic just directly off cleanly at line level. And I will drop a DI box at every single station. And I will have a couple Rio 32s spread across the convention center, wherever it's at. And I will DI every single one, and we will program every single one of those Astro boxes to give an aux of just the mic. And then that way it hits my communications console and my main console. That way, the producer, he'll chime in on comm and he'll say something like I know you've done this with me a bunch of times. Hey Jay, what does Team A sound like? And I'll go over to my solo and I'll cue him straight up into my headset. And we always brief them like, hey, always consider yourself live. You guys are professionals, act as such. So if we're on ESPN, like we can't have you swearing, we can't have you being inappropriate. You know, do what you do, but keep all of that to a minimum. The producer will say, hey, listen to Team A or Team Gold. and I'll pipe them into my headset and I'll listen to them and he'll be like, does it sound good? Does it sound anything interesting? And I'll be like, oh yeah, these guys are battling it out. Like it sounds great. And he'll be like, okay, take team A to stream. At that point, because I have an isolated feed of every single one of the players, I can easily do that. And what I'll do is I'll take all of those DIs and I'll group them in DCA groups. Like team A will be DCA 1, team B will be DCA 2. And that way it's just one handle. Boom, I'm taking that DCA to the stream. Here's team A. And then the producer will be like, okay, I want to hear team B now. I take DCA 1 out, I bring in DCA 2.
Now, where in that audio chain, I'm assuming, especially if it's going to broadcast, that there has to be a delay built in to be able to dump in case these guys do use profanity or something.
There's always a good delay, like a 15 to 20-second delay.
But that's much later in the chain, because otherwise
correct.
You'd be off from the gameplay.
Correct.
Okay.
Very correct.
Great.
Yep. That answers that. And then the other thing too, like somebody had mentioned, we always do sync tests. So we'll talk to the TD and we'll talk with the camera crew and we'll get a jib center shot. And then we'll have the host walk right into the center of the stage and we'll do a sync test with him. And I could tell you, doing the sync tests, we set everything in frames. Like rather than dealing with milliseconds or things like that, I want the cameras to be in sync with me and not the other way around. So I'll set all of my delay scales to frame rate and I will adjust my frame rate until the TD says, yep, that looks great. I'm happy.
Cool. Okay. Now, and you're using Yamaha
Sorry,
consoles.
it's getting dark. Yeah, I use CL consoles. I use all CL5s and everything. And then I use this QL5 that you guys are seeing. This is for comms. So all comms through the QL, but all broadcast and front of house are all with CLs.
So what frame rates are they filming at? I'm assuming 60 or 59.
Yeah, it's 144 5994, or yeah, 144 hertz 5994.
Okay. So on the CL, you still have to do a little math because they top out at 29.97 or 30.
Yeah, well then it's 2 for every one, right?
2 for every one, exactly. Yeah.
So
but cool.
that's the process. And
Nice.
and I'll do that. Set your delay scale to be your frame rate, 59.97, and then 2 for every one. He says, cool, that looks great. Let's rock and roll.
Awesome. So let's see. I think we have some more questions that came in from Facebook and from our
panelists,
the panelists and the Zoom webinar. So Andreas from Zoom asked us, do you prefer the analog announcer console or the Dante announcer consoles?
Both are great. They both do the same function. Moving forward, I'm probably going to use the Dante boxes just because, again, it's a shared network. And front of house, I have 3 QL consoles linked. I have 12 Rios linked. Adding another piece is no big deal. And I think, that way it's a matter of me just simply patching him into front of house rather than running hard lines and dropping a Rio to front of house. So yeah, no, it's on the radar for sure. And as technology evolves, we're trying to stay and evolve with it. I'm a huge advocate of Dante. I've gone through all the levels of that once they developed through online courses. I did the in-person ones back in the day. I'm sure, Ed, you remember before there was any courses you had, and before there was even these, we had the My 16 cards on M7s and LS9s.
Yep.
And I'm sure everybody can remember how much fun and pains in the asses those were when they first came out. And the learning curve involved with getting them to work in the first firmware versions of them. But
not only that, I mean, going back to LS9s, it wasn't so simple to patch from a slot. You had to do your inputs and outputs separately. It wasn't as easy on the CLs and the QLs now, where you can just, when you select an insert point, boom, it completes the whole path back, the send and return. So yeah, those were not nearly as fun. Took much longer amount of time.
And turn it, rotate it. Let there be light. Yeah, no, they weren't. And here quiz. Let's see if Andy, Fred, or Ed can answer this one. Where on an LS9 does your My 16 card land? Where within that can it land? And can you patch it on an LS9?
If memory, well, it's a slot, right?
Yeah.
Are you asking which slot?
No. So how do you access and adjust that on the console itself?
Oh, you're stretching my memory now. I haven't used an
Yeah, it
LSI
depends
in a
on
while. Kind of spoiled.
Depends what card. If you're talking about the My 16 Dante card.
Where okay, where does your virtual head amp land on an LS9?
Yeah, that's in the head. There's a head amp specific window in. I'm like envisioning the side button.
I can't remember.
It's a fun question.
Yeah.
It's the last page of the effects rack.
Right. Yeah, that's where all your 3 slot or your 2 slots show up.
Correct. That used to be a common question, like, oh, how do I do the thing? And
right,
you have
and
to,
that's
you have to patch with Dante. You have to patch with Dante controller.
Right. Well, once you assigned, and then you also had to patch in the console to tell it what channels you want to come up on. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh yeah, no, I've done that many a times. Dugan cards and all sorts of fun things.
I almost sent an invite to this to Dan, and I should have sent one to Dan. That'd have been fun to have him in the audience.
Yeah, that would have been great. I think we have some more questions.
Yeah, Guru asked, the last live esports event we made, we had 3 channels of communication: 1 talking to the camera operators, 2 cues to the host and the casters, and 3 was the control room. Can you explain the process and the communication change? Who talks to whom, and how do you organize the separate channels for comms?
Absolutely, I'd love to. So channel 1 is always party line, production line. That's a everybody channel and everybody who needs it. So if anybody's familiar with ClearCom products, I can go into the CCM, which is ClearCom's GUI, and I can assign roles to these belt packs. And maybe a camera guy only needs a video channel. He doesn't need that party line that everybody's talking on. But channel 1 is always party line. Channel 2 is a dedicated audio line. The only people that have access to that channel is front of house, A2, and A2, EIC, TD, producer, and me. Those are the only people that have access to audio channel. That way there's not clutter. 3 is video channel. So video channel is going to be TD to his camera guys. We don't need to hear him, bring the jib in, swing over left, tighten up, cowboy shot. If you had to hear that all throughout your show, it'd drive you insane. So channel 3, video channel there. Channel 4 is usually green room or talent. Channel 5 is going to be pre-function area. So if we need to make announcements or anything like that, you can do them directly from a comm. Channel 6 is going to be the TD straight to the casters. 7 is going to be casters to the TD. Channel 8, yeah, there's so many channels. Make sure I'm not going to miss any here. Casters there, casters back, casters there. Program. So we always send program down the line too. So if anybody wants a program channel on their belt pack, they can listen to it that way without having to hear it through backstage monitors or house. Stage. Thank you. Stage channel, because there is people that manage all of the game machines and the players. There's stage managers that get the players in place, things like that. So there's a stage channel. So the technical director could talk straight to the stage staff that you're going to see, kind of roping them in. They're all the on-camera staff that you see. And that's, am I missing any? Well, talent IFB. So we're going to have fiber tubes wired into hosts and things like that. So there's going to be a channel for that. Yeah.
Does video ever use a hot mic?
No.
Not in gaming. That's not a gaming thing. Okay.
No, it's, I know what you're thinking. Like if we were doing like a rock show, right? So, or yeah, I know what you're saying too. Like if we had a corporate show and they needed a hot mic to, please welcome to the stage, Steve from accounting or whatever. Welcome next our fireside chat panel. God damn it.
Yeah, no VOG to break in. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. Hey Jay, just I know we dove deep into a lot of these questions here with the community. Cool. Everybody was super excited. Everybody had tons of questions. I want to make sure we're getting down to the last 15 minutes. I hope we didn't derail you too much, and if there's anything you wanted to review or do that we might have sidetracked you from doing.
I had a couple things I wanted to plug. Like I didn't want to selfishly plug them, but I had some really cool things I just finished. I wanted to send one to Ed because I know he's a big Yamaha nerd like I am. But I love Stream Decks, and I'm gonna start with that. Like, I love the Stream Decks, and Ed was saying he had a guy that wrote the Stream Deck module for Yamaha, and how's it going?
Sitting right there.
He happens to be right here with us, Andrew.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, the module's great. I love that. I use my Stream Deck and I love it, but I also built a custom GPI controller that I plugged a little bit, but it's finally done, and there's a final product of it that I can kind of show people with these consoles. And when I'm doing those really complex routing, having some of these features I'm going to show you guys makes my life so much easier. I love just having something that I can just plug in and work. I still set up my Stream Deck and I still use it for the macros and things like that. But I also love having an extra piece of hardware that just increases my flexibility as an engineer. So can you show real quick? Hopefully this works. So can you guys see this little box right here? So this sits right up on top of the console. There's 5 buttons here, and there's 2 Raku. Now, this is an internal light on the 3rd switch, but I put a 200 ohm resistor in there because at first it was super bright, and people might not always want that.
Hey, Jay, sorry, I think your mic just switched over again. I think
Can you hear me on the laptop?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, right. Now, I can pull this. This is a custom mount that I designed in Fusion 360 and printed for the console, but I can also take this out. This connects directly to CL or QL, and I love Eddie Van Halen, so I made it like the EVH logo, right? You have your user-defined keys here, and some people know, some people don't, that you can bank select between A, B, C, and D and get 48, right? Well, you eat buttons in order to have that function. With this, I can now bank select as many as I want, and I just go to B bank or A bank, and now I have 24 buttons that I can use. This one is, I call it a flex button, and I have it set up, if you see the console light up here, when I press to set nominal, but you always have to press it down for set nominal, and I found that to be a pain in the ass. So this switch, I flip it, now I have 2 hands, I can route any way I want, and then flip my switch and I'm back again. So that was just a feature I've wanted forever to have. Of course, you can do tap tempos. You can have anything that the user-defined key can do.
Pick up your jaw.
I know. This is so Jay said he's going to send me one of these, and now I'm super stoked because set nominal is like a must in my workflow. I use it all the time.
We have a few people in chat already saying take my money, so it obviously is a very good feature for you guys to have.
Also, too, if anybody's on the Yamaha threads, I started designing Star Wars like action figures for the faders because I'm a big nerd. A guy by the name Ben like really wanted a Han Solo in carbonite for a Han Solo bus. So that's a Han Solo, and if you look at the fader, it clicks right on. And now I have Han Solo on the fader. I did a Stormtrooper, snaps right on. I did a Mandalorian, and I'm just a big nerd. So those are all available, and I'm letting all the 3D files out for free because if anybody has a 3D printer, you should just have the file and download it for free. If you check out the YouTube channel, it's all Kinetic Professionals, which is myself and a lot of other people I work with that are just doing the same thing you guys do, kind of giving back in the tutorials and things like that. And then there's the website, which you can go to and you can buy that product that I just showed you guys. You can download all of those 3D print files for free. I don't need your email. I don't need your credit card. I don't need you to sign up for anything for the free files. It's literally you go to the website and click a button and now you have them. It's not all about the holy dollar. It's about I'm a nerd and I think this stuff is cool and I want to do what other people here do, and that is make stuff that is useful. Like Andrew, obviously I can't code Python, but I can do what I can do, which is give back what I know. And that's my selfish plug.
That's great. Absolutely. I'm actually, you'd sent me some of those links. I'm going to get them in the chat in just a second.
Yeah, this unplugged.
Yeah, I'm throwing them in there right now, Ed.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I have a handful of things going on here, so thanks.
Well, we're
Omar.
going through that. We have a couple more questions from the panelist side.
It's back. Check.
So Anthony Ramirez asks, what devices or converters allow you to convert the video output from the PC to SDI?
Blackmagic converters.
Kind of figured that's what it was, but
yeah, there's decimators. Decimators. I mean, I have a ton of decimators. Everybody, decimators, DAC 70s. DAC 70s are great converters. Decimators are great converters. Blackmagic makes some great converters. I'm prone to the decimator, the HDMX decimator. It works. Ed, Omar, I'm sure you guys both use those. They're pretty industry standard at this point for that function.
Omar, actually, I think the first video I saw, live video that AV Educate did, was Omar's class on the decimator. Yeah, great tool. That's my converter of choice as well.
Yeah, I own two of those as well on my work box.
The DAC 70s are good if you need if you have a corporate gig with old laptops that still have a VGA. That's where a DAC 70 will save you.
Correct.
Until a couple weeks ago, that was Ed.
I'll throw another one out there too. If you guys ever get into it, they're called missing links, 3G missing links, and they take an SDI and send out audio, XLR. They're pretty good little boxes. You can put internally sort of a logo.
Jerry
in there.
says those are great for a little bit, and then they burn out. They're great if you're not using them every day.
Right.
And then Anthony
they're just not as they're great. They're just not as durable.
Anthony also asked, do you sync delay using a delay on subgroups and master bus outputs, or using individual channel input delays?
That's a great question. It just depends. So if I'm syncing to broadcast, then I am going to adjust my broadcast mix, and I'm going to use the onboard delays, set that to a frame rate value, and then I'm going to adjust that, because ultimately the audience, that's the most important part. What they see is the most important part. So if I'm syncing up my master output bus to the cameras, everybody's happy. Everything else, if it's a little off and I can adjust it over time, people can live with that. But what they can't live with is like a Chinese dubbed kung fu movie on the broadcast.
And then a couple other Facebook questions that came through. Chris Lutbecker, sorry if I butchered your name. I'm pretty sure you guys are using gain compensation at the PC level. So that way, when they're using all their mechanical keyboards and everything like that, you're not hearing the clack, 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 clack coming through, right?
That would be noise suppression. So the question was, why do you not use gain compensation? You mentioned that you're not using it with between.
So the reason why I don't use gain compensation is honestly, I don't know the flavor of engineer that's going to be at front of house. And some people would argue, yeah, set up gain compensation because that's protecting you more. But if we don't set it up, that's one less step I have to worry about. That's one less thing I have to say, like, hey, do you have gain compensation turned on? Like, how is this routed? And I have to have that conversation and kind of look over their shoulder, because I don't know the flavor of engineer that I'm going to get that day. So if I route everything in a way that he is comfortable with, then everybody's happy. So there's no reason. I mean, if it was always the same team, if I always had the same engineer, for sure, we'd rock gain compensation. But again, it's usually always somebody different.
Yeah, I find in practical use, gain compensation, it's like a great idea on paper, but I only use it when I'm working with another engineer, whether I'm on monitors or front of house, that I really know them and their workflow, and there has to be a conversation up front about who is the head, who's actually
commanding
running
the head amp.
Exactly.
Who's commanding the head amp?
In my opinion, it's usually
so I'm not
be
giving
monitors.
you enough love, Omar. I'm just
yeah.
I know Ed's a like-minded nerd, and you and me got to talk more. Sorry, Omar, but Ed nailed it. It's yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. There has to be a hierarchy, and I hate to use that word, but there has to be somebody that is in control of that head amp, because you're sharing that head amp. And I'll work with whoever it is, and I'll set it to them, and I'll talk it out. hey man, is this great? Are you happy with the levels in the house? And you make sure that they have lots of play on their fader, right? And I'm happy. And then you always communicate it. I always tell people, don't make fast moves in prep. Always take as much time as you need in the prep, because you're not going to have any time during the show. So while you're prepping and while we're setting it up, hey, do you need a little more gain? Yep. Trim it, a little dB here. Cool. Yep. And then during show, always communicate that to it. Hey Jay, I'm going to turn this preamp up a little bit. Okay, cool. Like, I'm going to compensate on my end. As far as the player chat, and they're talking about the keys rattling, we have lots of fun tools for noise suppression and gates on consoles.
Yeah, I completely read that wrong when I said it. I was thinking noise compensation when Gain was the actual question, so that was my fault too.
Yeah, no worries, Chris. I mean, it's a specific feature and naming in Yamaha consoles. It's called gain. It's a feature. I mean, it's generally
multi-band
referred
compressor.
to.
I use the MCB a lot. I love that guy. I use dynamic EQ, which is on the consoles all the time. I'll route my mixes if it's a group of people talking into a dynamic EQ, and then I'll shelve that dynamic EQ to where only a vocal range frequency is bleeding through, and everything else is pretty much nulled. I try to stay away from ducking, because you get a lot of kind of wavy ups and downs. But if you can just kind of isolate the frequencies that are natural to a human being and get rid of those that are not, that solves most of your problems. And plus, those mics, believe it or not, those Astro mics, you guys hear them in your headsets, right? But most people don't know what they sound like having them patched into a console and then sent back out. They come in crunchy and loud. It's almost hard to hear anything else other than them, because the mic is right here. And it's about, like, you're not getting other stuff. It's super loud. I'm asked most of the time to turn them down.
Yep. I know Philip Attenberg asked a question, but I can kind of answer this one, and Jay, you can jump in. He asked how many seconds of delay is used for the front of house mix so the gamers can't see or hear each other and get a gaming edge. Typically, in that case and scenario, the gamers, when they set up the stages, typically the gamers are focused, their backs are towards any video feed that could possibly be being shown at the event. And most of the time, the gaming edge, they have their headphones on, their noise canceling. They're not hearing a lot that's going on around them. And like Spider already said, they are so focused and intented into their monitor that they're not paying attention to anything going on around them.
Okay, cheating has happened. Cheating has been caught.
Absolutely.
Here's one of the things that most people don't know, but pay attention to this whenever you watch into these games. The headsets, right? Sometimes we'll pipe white noise into their headsets. We'll do that. That's something we do. But they have all been briefed on rules, and they all have rules that they have to abide by. Otherwise, they forfeit the purse. And one of those is cheating, and there's different ways. The most common way you'll see people cheat is they'll take a card or like a little piece of plastic or something, and they'll put it right here where their ear is. So what that does is it creates a gap where their headset's slightly off their ear, and then they can hear the other team. And that's what they'll do, is they'll create a little gap from their ear to the headphone. And that's a big no-no. But they'll use, again, like a little piece of plastic or something that they'll stuff right here to create that gap. And then the whole contest halts. There's a big old, like, please wait logo on the screen, and they get escorted out of the building.
I know one of the tournaments I was involved in, the tournament rules specifically stated you had to have closed ear headphones, and most tournaments are closed eared headphones. The tournament that I went on, one of the guys, like he says, you bring your own headset and they have a preamp mix. You just take your headset and you plug right into the preamp mix. And he showed up with an open back headset, and they gave him 5 seconds to say he had a closed earphone headset like this, or they were disqualifying the team. He couldn't produce one. They disqualified the whole team. They stopped the whole thing. Everybody there. We were in the middle of a game when they stopped it. It was another game going on. They stopped everything, shut it all down, walked and escorted the team out, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, we've had somewhere earbuds too. Yes. And then still put the enclosure over it, just because they themselves don't even want to be accused of that. It's a big risk to them. There's a lot of money on the line, right? So they'll double up and they'll put the earbuds in here that they're actually using to listen to, but then they'll still use the microphone on the main headset and put the muffs over just so that nobody can even ever accuse them of that. But watch, if you guys ever see it on something that's maybe not a huge level, but a smaller level where they maybe won't get caught, they'll do the little trick. And if you watch with the camera, you'll see one of the headphones have a slight gap in it.
I've seen guys at tournaments, they do the slide. They'll do the slide like this. They'll have one ear cup off a little bit.
Don't let a judge see it.
And they don't, and they're not allowed to do that.
Another one too, which is probably brings it back to the same question that was asked, is front of house, right? So all of the audience that is in here, this could be a couple hundred people, it could be a couple thousand people, and they want to hear the casters that are driving the audience through the show. And the casters have their headsets on, and front of house does pipe that into there, right? So if a caster's watching one player and he's saying like, oh, so-and-so, like Ninja's hiding around the corner and he's going to get this guy and he has this real cool play coming in, the gamers, they're not listening to the other gamers. They're listening to the casters calling the show, because the casters will call them up by name and tell the play that's about to happen. Like, oh, I think this player is like setting this move up, and they'll listen for that. So now what we do is we have white noise generators that will pipe in at the front of the stage, and then we make sure that the PA in no way crosses the stage, and we'll set up delay zones so that each zone isn't slamming a ton of audio. It's very zoned out so that it's, every 20 feet you have a zone that is really low rather than one big zone booming. So we used to, do line arrays. We do line arrays over the front of the stage. Like I had like one of my rigs here set up, and that was the problem, years ago at the inception that they were having, is that the gamers would listen to the casters in the house. So now we zone that out, and there's rules in place to keep them from doing that.
I think Fred.
Jerry just told me we don't put casters in the house anymore because of that.
Nope. I was going to say the last few tournaments that I've been involved in, the casters they're either up by the stage, they're up by the audio team, or they're actually out in a foyer area where they're watching on their own separate, like their own monitor dash, and they're calling the game from the monitor dash. They haven't but that's probably within the last 2 years that's happened, that they've been doing that.
Correct. And we did a show with ESPN for them. It was on ESPN. And it was really cool. But I remember I was fighting front of house with that because he still had handles on the caster, and the producer at the ESPN level, you have more than one producer. You have like 4 people behind you yelling at you everything to do. And they were saying like, take the casters down, like just bring them lower. And front of house was like, I'm not doing that. So I went in via Dante and dropped him to his console. But that's, yeah. Any other questions?
Fred did have a question.
Yep, we're gonna open it up to the panel now. Fred had something he wanted to ask.
I want to understand how you're getting stuff out of the computer. So HDMI or DVI video?
HDMI into no.
Okay, so
HDMI, I'm sorry, DisplayPort. DisplayPort.
Okay, so DisplayPort out.
Here, video question.
You're having to split that, obviously, because you can't run that through a converter first to convert it to SDI. So you have to split it so you don't get a latency to the monitor, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, so the first thing to remember is for a true gaming PC, you're actually hitting 144 hertz or higher. So you've got to come out DisplayPort to HDMI. That's the only option.
So you're hitting. So you come out. So HDMI splitter. So this HDMI goes to the monitor, goes to, let's say, an HI5. So you're converting HDMI to SDI. Now you got to come SDI out into an embedder to take the audio, correct?
We do it a little bit different. Ordinarily, we come straight out of the PC into a decimator because you do have a loop function within the decimator. So we take the SDI out. We go HDMI in, take the SDI out, and then worry about de-embedding from there.
So they don't complain about the latency going through the decimator?
We don't typically have much latency through a decimator.
It is being processed, but you're putting it through that converter in the decimator. So that was okay. So, but if you didn't have decimators, you had HA5s or something that's just a single-ended in, single-ended out, then you have to go into an embedder for the audio?
You would, yeah. You'd have to re-embed the audio.
Okay. So, but if you're using a decimator, how do you get the audio in there?
So we do take the audio straight from the PC directly.
Okay, I thought that you said that the audio from the PC was always embedded in the video, and then the additional to the question was, so you drop a video line and a 2-pair audio line because you got to take the mic from the headset to him, and you got to give program or something back to them. So you're basically dropping 3 wires to every player or
And
every
then some,
computer.
yeah. And then some, yeah.
It's a ton of wire. It's you nailed it. It's at least that to each player. So audio, you're gonna have the pair for them to capture their mic, and if we want to pipe something in, so we're gonna drop 2 there, and then video, I stay away from.
Okay,
So
now-
just to jump in on the decimator comment real quick here, you guys are doing, you're not using it as a scaler then to avoid the delay, using it as a pass through. Is that correct?
That's correct. We don't typically use it as a scaler at all. That and
Right,
it
yeah, that
reclocks
way
the
you-
signal right away. So we're coming out. It's reclocking. At some point, once we've embedded, we're hitting a time code to make sure everything's in play. And so, yeah, and then with the
Yeah, so the decimator internally has a function. It's like the last menu for audio that lets you embed or not embed the audio that's being brought in from HDMI. So it'll just embed it straight down the SDI line and send that down wherever you want, and interact just pass through. So all it's doing is converting a digital signal, HDMI signal to a copper signal for SDI. But it's all going through. The only time you'd get a significant delay, or at least a frame delay, would be if you're doing it as a scaler, and that would cause you to have a frame because it's being processed internally.
Right, well, that's what I thought you were using the scaler for, was to take it down from the high frame rate down to 59.9 or whatever.
No, yeah, with the decimator you can do so you can, if you do it correctly, you could do SDI to HDMI, HDMI to SDI. So essentially you can come in and out both ways and you wouldn't get any delay. You would just pass it straight through, and then at the last menu setting you just turn on embed audio and it would send it down. So it's kind of everything you have in one box. But you need the MDHX, the $300 one versus like the $100 one, to get that functionality so you can go there and program it. And there's also
don't get the LX.
Yeah.
They're just like the missing links. They work great when you first pull them out of the box, and then for whatever reason, they're just not as robust. They're great for corporate shows. They're just not. I don't think they're built to handle what you throw at them with eSports.
So
Right.
that particular model of the decimator has a 1/8" mini in.
No, so they're still taking the HDMI, the audio on the HDMI, and the HDMI has a loop through, which is where then you are sending it.
Correct.
But then
correct.
you at the same time you can send it to the scaler to send out to the SDI and still have embedded audio in both places. So to get to the local monitor, they're using the HDMI pass through, but then to get into the ROS, they're using the SDI probably through the scaler, is what I'm assuming.
That's correct. Yes.
Great, cool.
I was just curious about the audio though, because
The audio stays embedded.
Out of the sound card. It's already in the HDMI path coming out of the computer.
Correct.
Ed, you fucking nailed it. Excuse my language.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to let that go as long as I could, but I wanted to to get it going because we are getting close to wrapping pretty soon, and I want to open it up to other panelists if anybody else has any other questions. Let me see. Switch my view here.
Like Andrew has a question.
There we go, Andrew.
Hey Jay, looks like you do a lot of comm stuff. I'm curious if you've ever tried anything with Unity.
I have lots of people use Unity now, and I see a lot of little studios here or there, like pretty pro studios, just not on a huge scale. I know. Stand by. Yeah, what's up? Your car door's open, Jerry?
This is how you guys know we are live. You can see.
So you just walked out of the studio.
No, my neighbor was really nice in letting me know that one of our car doors.
Oh,
I think my wife just got home, and hi, honey. Okay, I'm sorry. Unity, cool. So, oh man, thanks for reminding me. I have a guy that has been on hold for an hour to do a comms test with us. I'm an asshole. Mike, if you are listening to this, which I'm sure you are, I'm sorry, man. So Unity is great. I like Unity a lot, but if I'm tying into a broadcast truck or something like that, I have to keep everything consistent and I have to stay within the standards that they are still using, which is going to be RTS or ClearCom. That's why I keep it all ClearCom. Now, as far as the IP configurations and things like that, do you know what Agent IC is?
I do not.
Okay, so let's do we have time for a 2-minute demo, you guys?
We got 2 minutes, and then I got something special at the end that I want to show. So we'll keep it to 2 minutes. We'll take a couple questions, and then me and Andrew are going to show something.
Awesome. Okay, who on this panel has Agent IC downloaded?
Before we jump into that really quick, I do have a quick question that I just kind of popped into my brain. I know the video guy kind of walked away, so I'm sorry I'm holding it off.
His car is open.
When you guys are doing the esports, why don't you use capture cards, like onboard capture cards, to route the audio and the video out? So you're not buffering anything. It's no different because you can send capture signal out through the GPU in the computer.
SDI would be my guess.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you're coming out HDMI, it wouldn't affect the frame rate on the computer.
Right, but the capture card has to come out of the machine. Essentially, they're going to hit that decimator, right?
Right, but
to
they're
embed
still
it to
splitting
SDI.
it. But they're still splitting it coming out of the graphics card. So if they came out of the capture card, you wouldn't be splitting the frame rates. You wouldn't be splitting the video. You wouldn't be splitting any audio.
I would assume how long are your SDI runs, or just your runs in general for these things?
Well, that could be the answer to my question right there.
Yeah, so HDMI, you don't want to run more than like 50 feet because then you get what's called the eye collapse. I'm sorry, yeah, HDMI. SDI, you can run about 300 feet at 1080 and not have any big problems.
Okay, so that's probably why they don't use the capture card to run out of. Okay.
Right.
Well, not only that, they're not going to be putting, and I'm assuming you mean a capture card that they would have to put into the machine.
Well, yeah, they have PCs there, so if they put a 4K 4x60 in it, a 60s, it's going to be able to pass through 1080p 60 frames a second. And
right,
so
but
they're going to be able
to HDMI.
Right,
yeah, but that's a lot more.
The decimator, that's what I'm trying to get at. And the decimator, they're already splitting the display port to HDMI to go into the decimator to send the SDI signal. So would it be less equipment and a clearer path to come capture out without affecting any frame rate?
No, because with the Elgato's, I don't have control. Elgato's doing its own thing in the background, controlling whatever it does. I don't with the decimator. I have control of refresh rate, resolution, embedding, de-embedding.
No, that's fine.
Color spacing, RGB or HV. Like I just a bunch of controls I have for the carbonite if I have any problems with that particular unit.
I got you. Okay.
Great. We can continue this conversation after our demo.
I got video all day.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Omar. Yeah, sorry, I had a guy at another broadcast studio ready to do this with me to show you guys. And then we just kind of worked past it, and that was my fault for kind of forgetting it. So who has a cell phone with Agent IC on it right now? And I want to talk it through just like how as easily as I would as a client that has never touched this in their life. I would call them and say, hey, download this app. And Andy has the app. Andy, do you have the app open right now?
I do.
Cool. At the very top of the app, what do you see? Do you see the play symbol first when you let it?
I see the play start and yeah.
So do not hit that yet. Yep, perfect. So you want to go to the top of that field and you should see, it should say EX or something at first. What's the top?
It just says Agent IC, ClearCom Agent IC.
The very top above the play button.
Oh, above the play button?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got. Maybe I have an old version. I don't know.
No, you do. It's you see the little blue icon in the top?
Yeah.
Yes. It should say EHX Profile 1.
It is LQ Profile.
Beautiful. I was going to say you need to switch it to LQ Profile. So EHX Profile, for those listening, that's if we're using an Eclipse system, like straight out of an OB truck or something like that. LQs, which let us network comms, also work as kind of a host server. So you have LQ Profile 1 selected, right?
I have profile name. Hold on a second.
You should have LQ Profile 1 selected. And yeah, Mike's still on. So you guys are going to hear him. Mike is going to talk through a studio that is fully wired with ClearCom systems right now. And he's going to talk to you through your phone with a studio that already has all ClearCom systems. So that's the point of this demo too.
Yeah, so, I have Profile 1 up.
Okay, you want to click the gearbox to the right of that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool. and you should see a field that says user and password.
Yep.
Cool. You just want to type in the number 1 into user and put number 2 on this one. So I'm going to do a phone over here too. Just number 2. And there's going to be no password on this. We didn't put a password for the demo. And then at the bottom, you should see where it says LQ server. Do you see that?
I see.
It'll say user, password, and then LQ server.
Yeah, I have EHX server. Hold on, I must be in the wrong thing here. I'm sorry.
It says LQ address on mine.
Yep.
Oh, there's
okay. Yep.
I'm sorry. You wanted me to be in LQ profile 1. I don't have
LQ
that.
profile 1. Chris Bodie, are you in LQ profile 1 as well?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Andy, I want you for the user to put number 1, and Chris for the user, I want you to put number 3, just the number 3. And then both of you, you should say, it's going to say LQ address or LQ server, just depending on the version that you have. You're going to put in the following IP address. You guys ready?
Yep.
173.13.137.206.
206 was last. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. And then the ports should be 6001 by default.
Now mine says EHX server. Is that wrong? Am I in the wrong profile?
You are. So back at that first menu with the play button, the very top of it. Here, let me see your.
It's probably because it's a custom. This was from another company.
So if you look at the top of mine, you see where it says LQ profile 1 at that same screen. You want it to say LQ profile 1. Is that what yours says, Chris?
Yeah.
And did you type in that IP address?
Yes.
Okay, go back to that play button and press the play button.
Try this.
Haha.
I am in. Yep.
And if you look, you have production, tech channel, IFB, and then program too. So remember those 4-wire adapters I showed you guys earlier? We'll send program straight into comm and straight down the line. And then we can create independent mix minuses for anybody. If it's a guy in Seattle who's just talking on. And the reason why I like that is Unity's great, but look how quickly I just got this done with Chris and some people who've never touched this in their life, maybe don't have Unity on their phones. You can also put an emulator on a PC and just run it in the background. And
I was just getting ready to ask, could we emulate this? Because this would be, if you had like a desktop with headphones and everything, it would be nice to have right in front of you.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me? Mike, you on?
Can you run down that setting again? I have it on my phone. I'm just trying.
I can hear you. So can you? Mike is on right now. Depending on the latency on Zoom, do you guys hear Mike? Chris should hear him immediately.
Yeah, I hear him.
So if you guys can hear Mike, who's talking to you right now, he's in a studio in Hayward, talking to you on a ClearComm headset, and you are hearing him through your phone.
I'm actually not.
That's cool. I can hear the bleed maybe from Chris's phone, but that's pretty great.
And you can, like I just did with you guys, imagine if you guys weren't tech people, if you were a broadcaster in Seattle that we needed to patch into a show and he needed to have an in-ear immediately, we could do that for him in 5 minutes or less.
So this is a competition to Unity. This is something that came out after Unity?
No, this came out, well, when did Unity come out?
It's been around for a couple of years.
I think Agent IC came out in 17. So.
Oh, okay.
It came out in 17.
I'd never heard of it. That's great.
But, it wasn't widely advertised, and it was made for Eclipse. So unless you're familiar with broadcast trucks and matrix comm systems, you wouldn't have been familiar with that because that was IP over comms, and it used to be IPCOM or something had a different name.
Okay.
VoIP. Remember VoIP? Voice over IP?
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy remembers VoIP. So it started with VoIP like 20 years ago and then went to something else, and now it's Agent IC. And they have these LQ stations which let you network in a bunch of different LQ ClearComm products And then Clearcom said, well, we already have this product that lets everybody network things. Why don't we let that host Agent IC? So then they developed the software to do that. And now if you already had one of those devices, those LQ servers, you're done. And on the back of them, there's 2-wire ports, 4-wire ports, GPI ports, if that's what you wanted. And then those physical ports let you connect to physical equipment in your studio, whereas the network lets you network in anybody you want. You can open up ports for control. Like I could control Mike's, the GUI that he's using to set this up. I can do that here. Andy, I'm sure you know all about, you know, port forwarding and things like that. But that's how it works. It's not complicated stuff, and you can just get it done quick. And I could send mix minuses over line level straight from my console. And the latency. So Andy, do you have this still open? And Chris, Bodie, do you guys still have this app open?
I can open it back up. I just closed it.
Yeah,
up.
and I'm not connecting because I think some of my profiles have changed from another show.
Okay, Chris, all you gotta do is hit that play button again. You shouldn't have to type in any of that stuff again.
Yeah, I'm in.
And watch this. Here's what I want you to do. I'm listening to you here, and I am going to stick my finger up in the air when I hear you get to 3. I want you to go 1, 2, 3, and when I hear you say 3, I'm gonna stick my finger up. Cool?
Cool.
Go ahead.
1, 2, 3.
You got to turn that mic on. Hit the mic button. So there should be a mic button on there. You see it on the right side. It's a red button with a microphone logo.
Mm-hmm.
If you click that and drag it to the left, that will latch. That's a latch function.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. I hear you.
All right. So 1, 2, 3.
It's almost the exact time that I hear it on here on Zoom. And just to prove to people that we're not bullshitting, can you unlock that? I'll show it to you on the screen, and you could see the signal. So if I production line, and I kill. So if everybody could see this here, and you see the little musical icon, talk for me, Bodie.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
You see when he starts talking, that musical icon is going.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is hold 3 fingers up in the air. Go like this. And go 1, 2, and then say 3 so that people at home can see that icon on. I don't know why it got so dark. Here. Okay, do that for me. Like a latency test.
3.
Do you guys see that? It's almost, if we were doing it, I clocked it at, I think, 0.17 millisecond. Or is like something like really, really, really tiny. Like, so if it works for an IFB or something like that, the latency is almost non-existent. So it's super useful. And like I said, if we're doing Zoom meetings like this, I will send whoever the presenters are, I'll send them the credentials like I just did with you, and tell them to turn their laptop audio completely off. And then I'll send them a mix minus of other presenters in Zoom, the show, and things like that straight into their earpiece. And that way, you can still treat it like a true broadcast, and the producer can talk to him with their comm panel. Okay, we're about to go to commercial. They hear it straight into their earpiece in real time. They know what's going on. And I love Unity. If you want to go on the Unity things, I really do. The World Poker guys we work with that are great guys. I know they all use Unity there, and a couple other broadcast studios do. If it's self-contained, meaning like studio to studio, like location A, location B, that's great. If it's just location A, that's great. But if you have to integrate with other systems that may not have Unity, or they're conforming to standards that Clearcom and RTS have, where the voltage standards are, 29 volts or line level, having this just makes your life completely easy. If you have it in your Clearcom rack and it's already set up and ready to go, it's just plug and play.
Gotcha.
That's the demo.
And Unity is just a lot cheaper too. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
So price.
But certainly,
The
if you've already
two-
got the interface, if you've already got the ClearCom system, you're already paying the big bucks. IC's no big deal. On top of
The
that,
two output, because remember I told you on the back you have physical outputs that are either 4-wire or 2-wire, and then depending how many channels you want to insert. So each phone can have 6 channels on it, and there's a license. So if I start getting into, you have to have a license, which it used to be a perpetual license, but now it's a subscription-based license because the holy dollar, right? And the two channel server is $2,000 for those listening, and the 8 is $4,500. So
it adds up quick.
It's not cheap, but if you start computing the licenses that you need, because every one of those that you need, any credentials that I send to somebody requires a license on the server, and all that license says is who's on simultaneously. So licenses can be shared, like if one person logs off, another person can log on, but you can have as many licenses as you want. I think the cap is 50, so you can have 50 people using this at the same time, but each license is a yearly cost. So you're right, Andy, it's
right
money.
That's where Unity
Totally.
it is a more affordable option.
Correct.
Unity does have Unity Cloud, which allows you to just subscribe for the number of users and the amount of time that you need. So if you have a one-off event, Unity is a very good option. Some people brought up in chat, Discord has some communication features that people are using. So if you're on like super tight budget, like many of us find ourselves with these productions we're doing at home, that might be an option for you to look into as well.
Correct.
And if you own a Unity server is not such a cheap proposition either. You know, you have to host it on a Mac, but it opens up so many options as far as being able to route Dante in and out of it using loopback or something, and get your program audio feeds. And
don't get me wrong, I love Unity, I do, but it's all about scale, right? And I think Unity is great. Like I said, if everything's contained and that's what you use every single day and nothing changes, and even if things change, you're still contained within that studio environment. But if you have a touring act coming in that may have an OB truck or a news station is rolling up and things like that, I need to be able to quickly use like an installed comm system, like a clear comm system that is on that truck or in my studio, and everything has to play together and has to do it fast. So it's all about scale.
Great. Well, thank you for that. I want to open it up. Any more questions from the panel real quick? And then I have a small quick demo that I want to share. Anything else from anybody? Excellent. So,
sorry, Ed, there was one more question on Facebook about a good place for training other than ClearCom training, other than on ClearCom.
You know what? I missed that it was other than ClearCom. But yes, Jay Clark would be a great person
So
to teach
if you go to my YouTube channel, I have my business partner, Atlee. He already finished all of the modules on HelixNet. We are going to do all the modules on FreeSpeak. Because of an NDA, I already filmed all the training modules for a certain organization that I can't mention, but they paid me to do all of the modules. Because ROM over at ClearCom, they do their own modules too. Like, I don't ever want to take that away from them. They have their great guys that do like on-site trainings and things like that. Everybody should do that first. So if you can make it to an on-site training sponsored by ClearCom, obviously that's directly from them. That's going to be superior to whatever I say or can do. It's their product. So somebody that works for them teaching it is going to probably do a better job than me. But I have still made all the videos on HelixNet. All the HelixNet videos are on the YouTube channel right now. There's 6 modules on there. As soon as my NDA, which is it's a 6-month clause that I wasn't allowed to publish anything because a service paid me to make those videos, so they own the rights for a year. When that expires, I'm going to put up all the modules for FreeSpeak, and then I'll put up all the modules for Agent IC. They're all free. It's all on the YouTube channel. Costs you nothing to click it.
Yeah, and Clearcom, you know, in the beginning of the pandemic, they did a handful of free speak ones, and there was one that they did at like 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and I made sure I tuned into it, and it was actually one of the best ones that they had done. They went through free speak every single function, tab, setting. It was great. Um, it was a little robotic and a little dry and a little long. So definitely, if you want something that's going to be more entertaining, check out Jay's YouTube
And that's
page.
why we broke them up into 5-minute modules, because we didn't want to just drone on. And like I said, I don't want to toot my horn too much about anything, but if there's a couple things that I would consider, I know as well as walking, it would be these. I have 3 full free speak kits behind me that go out all the time, and I've been very fortunate in life to be in that position. But owning it, I can walk into my shop at any time if I don't know something, and then just play with it in a stress-free environment until I know it and learn it. And then once I've done that, I obviously want to share that with other people. So it's from a place of humility.
Great. So with that, I think this is a good point. If there's no other panelist questions, I think we got to everything on the Facebook and the Zoom side. As we were talking earlier, Jay, meet Andrew, who developed the companion module for.
Thank you, Andrew.
For
Welcome.
Yamaha. He's also developed a cool bit of software that allows one Yamaha console to talk to another. And I'm going to let Andrew kind of tell us about it, and then I'm going to switch up my cameras. Andrew and I this whole time have been connected, where he has control of my console and I have control of his console. So we're just going to show a quick little bit about it. If that's all right with everybody, it might be fun. So let's check that out. And I'm going to switch my camera view. I have a camera focused on my Yamaha Q01 that's sitting right here. So
can you show the screen share of my screen there too?
Yeah.
I'm really interested in this, Andy. So thanks, man. And at the end,
Jay, I'd like you to get in touch with me, especially since you're using my companion modules. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that as well when you have time.
Please, when you get offline, let's exchange whatever contact info.
You bet.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Great. So I think everybody in both lands can see. Oh, what are they looking at? Oh, you know what? Facebook.
You can't see my screen yet, can you?
I can see your screen. I don't think Facebook land can yet, though. So, oh no, Facebook land is seeing your screen. They're just not seeing my console.
Okay.
So I'll figure out how to get that.
Figure that out, will you?
I will.
So you notice that when Ed's talking, you can see the meters moving on my end. This is just on the editor. Okay. So the way this software works is it allows 2 consoles to connect to each other. I have a Q01 sitting behind me. Ed has his Q01 there. His microphone's going into his Q01. My microphone's going into my Q01. Both channels are mirrored on both consoles. So as Ed is talking, I can adjust his control. I can also adjust my own, but it's more interesting that I can adjust his. And I can EQ things. I can do anything. Basically, 100% of whatever the console can do can be mirrored across the thing. Now, I know lots of people have done this with TeamViewer and other systems where you can use an editor to control another console. This is the first time that I know of that it's been possible to control one console with another console and also have the editor in line at the same time. So if Ed was to talk, you would see that
1, 2, 3, 4.
As he's talking, I can turn him down and turn him up, of course.
Right here, 1, 2.
No big
this
deal.
Is me talking, testing, and.
Do you have to have CLQL editor open?
No, you don't.
No, we're just doing this for demo.
Giving him some reverb, for fun. But you can see on his console, you can see me moving up and down, moving. Let's see,
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna spotlight my console so that everybody can see my. There we go. So you guys should be able to see my console, and you can see my channel is moving.
The video is quite delayed from what's actually happening. It is happening in real time.
So let me switch to. Okay, so now Facebook should be able to see. They're on a little delay, but they'll be able to see my console. If you want to move that around again for a second.
Sure, I can see it. The console's quite a bit slower than the
So
video.
you're not grabbing that with a mouse cursor, right? You're moving that with your handle on your QL.
I'm not at the moment, but if I turn around, I'll go away and I'll go do it on my console. You can't see my console, unfortunately, but I'll go do it there. And
I believe you, Andrew.
you can see me moving up and down here. Theoretically, it is moving on your end.
Yes, and it's changing your volume on our end.
Yeah.
So now what I can do is, where's my hand? Here's my hand. So Andrew, if you want to talk.
So if I'm talking here, he can adjust my level and do whatever he wants. So earlier today we were adjusting the EQ, because this is something that's kind of interesting on Zoom, is you never really quite know what your microphone sounds like. So on the other end, the person at the other end, Ed, can control my microphone, try to make it sound better, put compression on there, set the EQ, whatever they want to do. But the real purpose of this whole thing is a situation where you might have a console somewhere in a broadcast truck, let's say, for example, and you don't want to pack people inside there. You can't because of COVID, you can't put that many people inside a broadcast truck. Maybe you want to control it from outside there. Maybe you want to control it from home. Maybe you want to teach somebody how to use their mixer. Maybe they're having trouble with their mix. Well, now you can mirror the two mixes, mirror the two consoles, see what the other person's doing, control it in real time. And
you know how many times I've been asked for that, Andrew? Like about 12 different of my clients have called me because of COVID with this question. And I've done other software ways to get the process done, but this just gets it done. This lets me control a console with the console over IP. And
yeah, and Jay, and this is just a tease. I would love to show anybody who's more interested in how this all works. The actual connection system is very slick. There's just a little app that I send to Ed. He just logs in, and I immediately can connect to his console. There's no port forwarding. There's no none of that kind of stuff. So it's very simple for anybody to use.
The guy that was sitting here earlier, Jerry, at the beginning of COVID, he, without bragging and with again, I try to come from a level of humility, he has a very, very deep client book. And he called me up at the start of COVID with this question. And it was one of the first times I was like, I don't know. I have I have software solutions to get this done. Like I would have people open up ports and things like that, and then NDI and other things like that to get it done. But what you're doing is absolutely how it should be done.
Well, I like to think so. We've been thinking about this for a while, and basically since COVID started, I was heading out on tour for a 3-month tour, which lasted 3 days. Came back home and went, now what am I going to do? Turns out, a friend of mine got in touch with me and said, hey, I've always been wanted to connect one console to another across the internet. You think that's possible?
Who are you going on tour with?
It's a group called Rain, tribute to the Beatles.
Cool.
I've been with them for 11 years. I'm their monitor technician. So yeah, we were about to go on tour, and that's it all stopped, and I went, okay, now what am I going to do? So because of COVID, like this whole idea of, remote control, this person could sit at home, control a show, and now you don't need to fly them there, fly them back, get hotel rooms.
So
person could run 3 or 4 you could run 3 or 4 shows at once if you wanted to.
So I know the fader control, and that's awesome, man. That's really, really awesome to watch happen. But as far as like dynamics and processing and everything like that, do you just
100% of things? The console is essentially a remote control for the other console.
So you don't need to go into CLQL editor to do things like effects or dynamics. Whatever dynamics and effects that you are taking care of on your console are instantly translated to the other one.
And a lot more than that. Preferences. I can control the light. I can turn his lights up and down on his console. It's that serious. I can lock his console and unlock his console. Actually, let me try this just a second. Did I just lock his console? I think I should have. Yes.
Yep. Yes, you did.
So I remotely locked his console.
That's awesome. And he unlocked it, thankfully.
And I just unlocked it. So yeah, 100% of the controls.
No, that's cool, man.
Are mirrored across. And the editor is just there. The only thing you can't send across is the meter data. So you need the editor just to see the meters so that I see a real indication of what his console is doing.
Right. So when I'm talking, you can see the meters are, you can see them here. They're moving up and down. The only way he can see that feedback is because
are the meters
of the
accurate to each other?
Editor.
So
oh yeah, look
yes.
it up. It's instantaneous. It's in real time.
Well, hear me out. Like you're minus 18 on your console there, right? Is that a true minus 18 on his console, or is there a translation difference between you'll see his meter, but maybe now it's only like minus 24?
Well,
is it true to each other?
So the editor can only connect to one of the two consoles at once. So right now I've got it connected to his console. So anything, if he had the editor open at his end, what I see here is exactly the same thing he would see at his end. So the editor is awesome. The editor. And notice that in my software, if you're still seeing my screen, I can switch back and forth between I'm looking at my side now, you see my meter, and that's showing you my side. The editor now is connected to me.
And when I'm talking, you don't see my meter moving on channel 1.
Right, see how that works? And then if I switch back to him, I can switch to the editor looking at his side, and now it's looking at his meters.
Now it's looking at my meter.
Notice that I didn't have to disconnect the editor and reconnect the editor. This is something you always have to do with Yamaha stuff, is you have to disconnect the editor, resynchronize. Don't have to do any of that anymore.
Yep.
And also I can send scene files across the internet too. So when I connect to his console, within a second, I can have my console mirrored to his. So there's a lot of cool things that are going on here, and
I'm gonna start sending you some scene files.
Jay, I'd love to talk to you more about it. What I really need at this point is more people like Ed and I and some other people to work with me and go, let's do some more testing. Let's do some more stuff across the internet. Let's see if we can crash this.
It's great
let's
meeting
see if we
you.
Can make it work.
It was great meeting Omar and Ed, and now you and Andy in San Francisco. I'm in the Bay Area. I don't know why we don't hang out.
Let's hang out.
Like, because it's we're in the same place, man.
Totally.
I'm
excited to hear
fellow...
that there's other people that are interested in this, because I think it's pretty freaking cool.
Well, judging by the Facebook comments, people, much wow was a comment. Chris has said, I'm totally nerding out right now. So yeah, this is and then of course Doug Ferguson and Jeff Keithley are asking for it to work with the TF. Now, from my understanding, that's not going to be a thing.
Unfortunately, it's a limitation put in there by Yamaha. Yamaha has made sure that they don't eat into their next level up, and this has been consistent from day one with Yamaha. If they have a lower price console, they purposely make sure that it can't do some of the stuff that the higher price consoles can do. And one of the things
DCA spill,
any of these things. So let me look at the LS9 versus the M7 versus the PM5D, where they all limit themselves.
How about Rivage? How about PMs? I'm picking up a 7 here in a month.
Cool.
So
I'm all over those. I played with them quite a bit, and I like them a lot.
Cool. See, right now, what I think I want to do is I want to halt us here, because it sounds like we're going to need to dive into this another time. So,
sure.
Andrew, we since Jeff Keithley is watching, he's going to be doing an episode with us. He did our NDI episode about a month ago. And then he's going to be doing an episode with us towards the end of the month, right before Thanksgiving, I think the 23rd, on virtual production in the cloud. So maybe you can jump in and on that and help us out, and we can look at this a little more. And then we can set up maybe a whole episode to look at your companion module.
I would love to actually
dig
into some of the scripting behind that, because that's what would interest me. And I'm not to like get into it to where it'd be like, oh, okay, I see what he did, but kind of like understand how it's routing and how everything's communicating properly. I'd be interested as hell in that.
Yeah, I find it very interesting. I've been working with Yamaha stuff for forever, and that's one of the reasons that this is possible to do.
I'm a huge Yamaha nerd, Andrew. Thank you.
This is
I'm glad to meet another one. There isn't a lot, It's the funny thing is
that's why this is awesome. That's why this forum existing is now introducing us to people that are just like us, man. And That's awesome.
I don't go to the Harry Potter meetings, but I do this. So
I don't know. I saw a few comments in the chat against Yamaha, and they were like making
Go for it.
remarks. So how many times are we going to hear Yamaha said?
Don't just
Like,
listen.
okay, talk to me when you go buy $1 million Cal Rec or a $200,000.
If you try the PM series, you'll never care about any other mixing board again. So all the people that don't even pay for their own mixing boards are
SSL
switching over.
at Expressions one time.
Although
and now
SSL is
that's
really
the only
good.
thing I like. They're great, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I could don't
you
preach
have
to
to-
me about heritage.
Horses for courses. Whatever works for the.
Sounds like
for
we're
a
getting
purpose.
into elitist mentality over here.
You have to be able to make your show sound great on whatever console is thrown in front of you.
Exactly.
It might even be a little Mackie with 8 faders.
I know what they're talking about, and I will tell you exactly what they're going to say in the comment section to like defend their argument. One, the preamps. Oh, the Heritage preamp sounds better. Two,
Heritage.
Yeah.
How old are these people?
Two, they're going to bring up a Heritage or SD9 or SD7, guaranteed. Two, the effects and the dynamic bleed, like they're great, but obviously like an EQ on a Yamaha console with -20 isn't an infinite value, right? So if something is managed to get over 20 dB in that frequency range, it's going to bleed through. That would be their argument, right? And the third would be the same thing with dynamics. They're gonna say the dynamics aren't as true as another consoles would be, but come on.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we can go on about this for a very long time. That's and Jay, your love of Yamaha and your tutorials on Yamaha consoles was a reason I asked Andrew to come and kind of show this thing off tonight.
I love that little switch box. That thing's wicked.
Oh, the GPI controller, Andrew.
Yeah,
I will build you one and send it to you for free, man. Because I just think it's cool. I just think this stuff is cool.
That's a very kind offer, sir. Like I said, let's chat when you get a.
You guys have QLs, right? You guys both have QL consoles.
Yep. I think Andy.
Did you see the mount?
Andy Lipnick has one also. We're a bunch of Yamaha guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you guys some mounts for them too. That just you get 2 extra pieces of 1/8-inch screws, and they're 1/4 inch longer than the standard ones with a washer. And you just pull 2 screws out of the back, and this mounts right to it for the controller. And there's a slot, so it'll just drop down, and you could never have to take it off and still put it in your case.
Cool.
Awesome. Wow.
Nice.
You really got it down on this thing.
Nice.
Well, I can't imagine how much time you put into the things you've done, so you get it. It's our fun, right? Some people like do whatever they do as a hobby, and this is what we do for fun.
Yeah.
We're not nerd worthy.
Let me just say though, too, guys, I've gotten about 30 texts over the past hour, and they've all said that this is great. Like not just me, but the other speakers and the forum. They've all texted me just to say that this is really cool and to convey that they think this is cool. And
this is one of the things about COVID. I don't know that I would ever have joined any of these kind of. They wouldn't even be here. These kind of forums and this kind of discussions wouldn't happen.
Well, it's October, so it's Rocktober. None of us would have a life right now at all.
Right. Yeah, I would have been without COVID. I would have been too busy to message Omar and say, "Let's build this," and we wouldn't have got there. I do want to point out for a second when Andrew, before when you were talking, you couldn't hear it, but I was manipulating your EQ, and I was actually. At first I did it by reaching over and I was twisting knobs, and I realized my arm was blocking the screen of my QL, so I fired up my iPad and then controlled it with my iPad. So I was controlling my QL with my iPad, which was then controlling Andrew's QL in Canada, where he is, over the internet. So the endless possibilities here for doing remote control stuff.
And then plug your Stream Deck in.
Right. Well,
over the internet.
Yeah. Well, yes. That I'm running my Stream Deck right now for OBS, but yes, that with Companion, I could do that, and we could do some stuff. That'd be really, really cool. And I'm sure Jeff would walk us through doing even cooler stuff that we haven't thought of. So we'll come back to some of this on the 23rd, and then Andrew, we'll get you on for your own whole episode to throw this together, especially because I know you're working on getting it finely tuned and polished so that it's going to be available eventually. So you know,
Yeah,
right now we're still in
for sure.
beta, I think, and it's been
Yeah,
fun.
just testing. It's rock solid at the moment. I want to throw it at people who can go, oh, I tried this thing. You know, I tried this other thing. We don't know what things people might throw at it, and I want to just make sure that it always comes through without failing. You know.
Oh, I'll torture tester it with you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Nice. So Jay, we'll have to invite you back when that happens. And thank you for letting me hijack your talk here with this.
No, it's a panel of great people here, so it's great to hear from everybody.
Yes, thank you, Jay. Very interesting.
We did run a little late, so but we started a little late because we had some technical problems. So we're back with the panel. If there's any last thoughts anybody has, I would love to hear them. Otherwise, anybody got anything? Anybody learn anything tonight?
Did I do all right?
You did great, man.
That's great, Jay.
There were a lot of great questions. So everybody who's watching, thank you guys for the questions. So much great chat going on. This has been a really, really cool talk. I've done some esports, so I knew how difficult it can be, how complex it can get. And I've worked on some lower budget stuff that actually was probably more difficult to do right because I didn't have a whole console dedicated just as comms, and I didn't have mix boxes for, you know, separating player chat and in-game chat. So, so this was cool to see.
I just give him credit for dealing with all the prima donna pro esports players telling me, I can't hear this. The chat sounds like that.
Exactly. But yes, no. Well, thank you guys. I do want to take a moment again to thank the DEVE store for their continued support. So thank you guys. Guy Cochran and his team are always great. They can help you out with any of your video equipment needs. Check them out, dvestore.com. I see somebody sharing something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just showing you my patch list if you really wanted to see the routing for Dante at least.
Oh, word. Hold on.
We did have a few people ask for that. So like actual.
So here's this is PAX. If anybody knows about esports, you guys know about PAX, right?
Oh yeah, I know PAX East and PAX West, the shows they do. Yeah.
So this is my equipment list, and I know you're go for time, so I'll do it quick. This is my audio equipment list for PAX. And I'm getting like the dirty eye right now for sharing this. But I'll show you the Dante real quick without getting too much. Like, here's racks that Steve did this. I'll give him credit there, but this is me. Here is my Dante patching for the last PAX I did.
Do you guys ever use Lucid charts?
Yeah. So as you could see, each block box in here is an item, is a Dante device.
Are you using Dante Domain Manager at all, or just?
I'll use Dante Controller. I don't use Dante Domain Manager.
Okay, you're not crossing subnets or anything, so you don't need it.
No, but and if you've seen here, like everything's static, right? Like here's my IP addresses, like 10.10. Everything I put into a 10 dot range and set everything to static.
That's cool. So that's another whole discussion. We've had more than one IT talk and computer talk on here. So that's
I got the look like I can't share too much. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you do static, that's a whole debate in itself, especially in Dante world. So I think Omar, I think we may have to do a Dante talk one of these days.
What do you think, Andrew? Static versus DHCP?
No opinion.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Great answer right now.
All right. Well, we are now 37 minutes over time, so
and I'm getting the stink eye from my boss. So
yeah, we're gonna have to call this. But everybody, thank you for coming out and watching. Thank you on Facebook. We're here every week. We'll be back next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. If you haven't yet, you can get closer to the action by registering and joining us on the webinar side, or you can watch us on Facebook. We'll always do both platforms, so please join us either way. That's more convenient. But thank you guys very much. Everybody can say goodbye to Facebook. We're gonna disconnect at this point, but thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Omar. Andrew, let's talk later. Bodie, great to meet you.
Just meeting you too.
Disa, great to meet you. Andy, we guarantee we know a million of the same people.
Let's get a drink.
Absolutely.
I think we got to introduce Jay to Brian Maddox too, guys. So
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, yeah.
Once he gets out of his bunker.
I think he's
yes,
close.
exactly.
Something might be happening tomorrow in the U.S. I'm not sure. I heard rumors of
Oh, tomorrow? Yeah.
maybe
Election
something. Not
day.
sure. I'm up here in
it is
Canada. We don't get much of your news.
Oh, yeah, it is tomorrow.
You're lucky.
I'd like
All
to
right.
be where you're at right now.
So thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Peace out.